We welcome you to Jim and Betty Smith Stadium here for more App State baseball on 90.5 WASU YouTube. Jordan Luker here with Grace Ellen Callihan for the final game in the Sun Belt opening series for the Mountaineers against the Texas State Bobcats. In the first round, App State beat them 15-4 in a bludgeoning in a 7-inning shutout. And then Saturday, they beat them 8-7 in an 11-inning stunning play. Joseph Zamora got the walk-off home run, and now we enter the last game of the series before App State will face Charlotte again next Tuesday. Everett Harris, the pitcher for Appalachian State, facing Chase Moore, the designated hitter. Chase Moore averaging .257 so far on the year. Facing Everett Harris, who last time played against the College of Charleston. Sends in the first pitch. That one swung on towards right center, and that'll drop in for a base hit. A nice start to Chase Moore's day.
And they just split the outfield right there. Just a perfect base hit to get going on this start of the day. And that was something that they struggled with yesterday. They need to get those bats going early, and they struggled with that early on. So great to see that already off the bat.
Yeah, how are you doing today, Grace? Ellen didn't really get to introduce you as Caden Baker comes up to bat, the left fielder.
I'm doing pretty well, though, Jordan. Excited to be here for some baseball play. And right now the clouds aren't as low as they were yesterday. So already a good start that we can see the outfield.
Chase Moore at first. Caden Baker now up to bat, the lefty facing Everett Harris. That first pitch to Baker's low for ball number 1. Caden Baker so far on the year, only 4 at-bats. Has yet to get a hit. Has walked twice. And so far, .333 on base percentage. Everett Harris has not played in a while. Last time was on March 9th versus College of Charleston. Sends in his second pitch. Caden Baker shows bunt, does not go for it. That's in there for a strike.
And I think something to watch with Everett Harris,
call it a ball,
too.
Sorry.
Oh, no worries. Something to watch with Everett Harris, too. Not a lot of time on the mound last season, so I think it'll definitely be interesting to see really how he comes into fruition as a pitcher this year.
That one swung on towards shortstop. Lichtenberger gets the double play, and now Zamora to first, and he's called safe, but Lichtenberger gets the out at second, and that'll be the first out of the game. However, Caden Baker able to safely stay at first after the throw by Joseph Zamora. We're now 1 out in the top of the first, and now coming up, Ryan Farber.
So close to a double play right there. Cam Miller stretching out to get that ball. Just couldn't quite get there. And that was a key to their success on that shutout win on Friday when it was 15-4 opening the series. They had 7 double plays, and that most of it was within 3 innings of each other.
So Baker gets on by fielder's choice. 1 out in the top of the first. Everett Harris now facing Ryan Farber. Baker's going to go to second. The throw by Braxton Church is in time to Lichtenberger for a caught stealing out by the Mountaineers. And we're now 2 outs in.
Great defensive play. Braxton Church read that right away. He saw the runner start going and was just there. Perfectly timed throw right to the bag.
The pitch by Everett Harris was considered a strike. We're now 0-1 with 2 outs in the top of the first. Base is now empty for the Bobcats. Everett Harris so far this year has pitched 15 1/3 inning, allowed 24 hits, 17 earned runs to give him a 9.98 ERA. That second pitch, a little outside for ball number 1. Texas Bobcats, give you a little history between these two teams. Both were founded in 1899, so both of them celebrating their 125th anniversary right now. 1-1 count. Everett Harris sends in that pitch. That one's outside for ball number 2.
Got a little closer there, though. The last one was just farther outside the plate, so he's working his way inside right now.
Umpires known for a tight strike zone here at Jim and Betty Smith Stadium so far. 2-1 count for Everett Harris. Ryan Farber, the lefty, the sophomore. That one in there for strike number 2. Count now even, 2-2.
Trying to work that inside of the strike zone a little bit right now against this right-handed batter.
Trying to get the last out. Base is empty for the Bobcats. Ryan Farber so far in the year batting .303, .434 on base percentage, and 66 at bats, has 13 runs batted in. That one swung on foul out of play towards the third base line, and that'll hit the App State dugout back onto the field, but it's out of play.
You got a few App State Mountaineers there just watching their heads. Got a couple that were like, oh, ball's coming back.
Always got to look out for it, especially when it's a lefty. You never know when they're going to hit it towards your way. Everett Harris sets up now. His count's still 2-2 with 2 outs. Top of the first, sends in the pitch. That one swung on again, and a fan will get, or no, it hits the net, excuse me. And that'll go foul. Count still 2-2. Ryan Farber trying to stay alive against Everett Harris.
Taking the time to decide what they're going to do here.
Everett Harris setting up the pitch. 2-2, trying to get out of the first inning with no runs for the Mountaineers. That one swung on, and that's hit way towards left field. Tyler Figueroa's going to be under it. And actually, it's third baseman Tanner McCammon who makes the catch on the foul ball to get out of the inning for the Mountaineers. When we return, Mountaineers will come back to the bats with 1 hit for the Texas Bobcats, but no runners left on base and no runs for them. We welcome you back to 90.5 WASC on YouTube. Appalachian State taking on the Texas State Bobcats in the final game of a 3-game series. App State already won the series by winning both games on Friday and Saturday, and now looking to sweep the series against the Bobcats. And Dylan Moquin will start the bats for the Mountaineers, facing Bryson Dudley, who pitched last game, only a third, only got 1 out, but allowed 3 runs, 3 of them earned, and 2 walks on the day. Now starts the game for the Texas Bobcats as the game yesterday went to extra innings and both teams are reaching in their bullpens. Dudley wasting no time for the first pitch. That one's high and outside for ball number 1.
Bryson Dudley definitely came in, and App State just figured out a way to get the bats going during that inning. And so really just kind of unfortunate timing out of all of it, so he did not pitch for long as a cause.
And that pitch hits Dylan Moquin for a hit by pitch, so that'll get him on first. And once again, the Mountaineers favoring the hit by pitch as they are in the top 50 of the NCAA in terms of hit by pitches right now. They're around 39th, and they had 4 last game versus Alex Valentine. And now this game already starting with the first batter. Bryson Dudley hits Dylan Moquin to get him to first base, and now will face Joseph Zamora, who got the walk-off hit yesterday to win the game for the Mountaineers. So Moquin now at first. Dudley sets up for the pitch, sends it in. That one swung on by Joseph Zamora. It's going all the way to right field, and it bounces down. Looks like Moquin's going to go to third, and Zamora will get on by a double for the Mountaineers.
Great placement, sent it right to the right field foul post, and just a great job at putting it in that corner to where the outfielder really has to work to get over by that post, and it's just a farther run, which does a great job at putting both runners in scoring position early on in the bottom of the first.
Now that'll bring in Cam Miller for the Mountaineers, who last game had a great showing out batting. 3 at-bats, 1 run, 1 hit, and 1 RBI, which ended up being the difference for the Mountaineers in that game. Also walked a few times. So now Moquin at first, Zamora at second. Starting to be a sunny day after a lot of storms. First pitch to Miller is high for ball number 1.
A little shaken up. Not the start that you want at the start by any means, to walk the first batter, and then off of like the second pitch, you've got both runners in scoring position. Something that Texas State struggled with early on yesterday in the game on Saturday.
Dudley sets up for his second pitch. That one in there for strike number 1 down the middle. 1-1 count now for Cam Miller, who's playing first today. After Juan Correa last game got hit by pitch twice, came out of the game. Tanner McCammon came in for him, but now Cam Miller playing at first for the Mountaineers. Second pitch, a little outside, but umpire calls it a strike. Count now 1-2.
Got some boos here from the fans here at the stadium today. Not happy with that call at all.
A decent showing despite the weather. Dudley now looks back towards second a little bit at Zamora. Now goes in for the pitch, 1-2. That one outside for ball number 2, count even.
It's always interesting what happens once these pitchers really start to get comfortable up on the mound. So you've got 4 pitches under your belt with this batter, and it is interesting, where do they go in their tool belt?
No outs, both runners in scoring position, Moquin and Zamora. Dudley now sends in the 2-2. That one outside and low for ball number 3, count now full, 3-2.
Now you're looking at this right now. You've got no outs, so there is a chance that you could do a pop-up and hit it deep enough to where you could potentially have your runner on third score home.
Mountaineers in the top 20 in sacrifice hits. That one swung on by Cam Miller all the way towards left field. It's going deep, but it looks like it's going to be foul. It would have been a home run if it was fair. However, Cam Miller will be sent back. Count still full, 3-2. It was fouled towards the left field line, but that one looked like it was going, Grace Ellen.
I know. We've even got wind in our face right now as we're sitting here in the booth calling this game. So that ball had enough height on it to where it cleared the foul post, just went too far left with this wind, but it was even going against wind and had that much power.
Count 3-2 still for Cam Miller. 2 runners in scoring position. Dudley so far 3-1 on the year in terms of his win-loss. Sends that one, and that's high and inside for ball number 4, and Cam Miller walks to load the bases.
And this is, again, exactly the situation that Texas State got themselves into yesterday. They load the bases out of the just immediately, and then you put up such a strong hitter like you've got Braxton Church coming up right now, who's a catcher who's traditionally a solid hitter for this App State Mountaineer team. But that's also something with the Mountaineers. Everyone in this lineup gets a piece of the ball, and they all are so active offensively. So really, like, anybody on this lineup is a lethal threat, and it's something Kermit Smith talked about on media day, of just how he wanted his entire batting lineup to be able to get into the game and really work and just be effective, to where each pitcher had to worry about each batter that came up next.
And that was a mound visit, a lengthy mound visit. The umpire had to go and break it up a little bit. We do have action in the bullpen already for Texas State. Hard to see who it is right now, but Bryson Dudley will remain on the mound, facing Braxton Church now, who leads the Mountaineers in doubles. One of those hitters you got to look out for. Already has 12 RBIs on the year. Batting .269, .384 on-base percentage. Now he'll face Bryson Dudley. Church, that's left-handed. First pitch, inside for ball number 1 to Church. Church has a little bit of a weird stance. He kind of crosses his legs almost, but it works out for him pretty well when he comes in. That's really deep in the batter's box. 1-0 count now for Church. That one swung on towards right field. Going deep and back. Is it gone? No, it's not gone. However, right fielder Shibley's unable to come on it. Coming in is Moquin. Coming in is Zamora. It looks like they're going to keep Cam Miller at third, and Braxton Church gets a 2 RBI double for the Mountaineers to get them started 2-0.
Braxton Church could not have got any luckier. That was almost as close. Actually, lucky might not be the right word. He was as close to a home run as you could get. It bounced off the back bar, which then had the right fielder scrambling to try and find it because the ball bounced off in a weird direction. So a lucky bounce to get the 2 RBI double. However, so close to a home run there.
And that'll put Cam Miller at third, Braxton Church at second. Looks like we're going to get another mound visit and go to the bullpen already for the Texas State Bobcats. So that'll do it for Bryson Dudley already, who only faced 4 batters so far this inning. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, a new pitcher for the Bobcats in the bottom of the first. Mountaineers up 2-0 off of Braxton Church double. We welcome you back to Jim and Betty Smith Stadium, where the Mountaineers are already up 2-0 in the bottom of the first, facing the Texas State Bobcats in the final game of a 3-game series, trying to sweep them. Now coming in for the Texas State Bobcats already, 45 left-handed pitcher Jackson Mayo, who last pitch on the 11th versus Texas Christian University, pitched 1 1/3 inning versus them, got 2 hits, 1 run, one of them earned, and got the loss in the decision, unfortunately. First pitch to, John Kramer. Swung on and missed for strike number 1.
And Kramer swinging under that pitch there, trying to go for the home run out of the park there on that swing.
Clouds back in sight. Kramer swings and misses for strike number 2. Still no outs in the bottom of the first. Mountaineers up 2-0. 2 runners in scoring position. Cam Miller at third, Braxton Church at second, who got the 2 RBI double to get the scoring started. That one is low for ball number 1. Count now 1-2 for John Kramer.
It's such a mental game once you go up 2 strikes and you're down early on in the count. And you're just trying to think like, oh, when you don't swing on that third pitch, you're just kind of crossing your fingers it's not a ball, or it's not a strike.
That one outside and high for ball number 2. Count now even 2-2.
After a fast start. Just kind of taking his time here.
Wind starting to pick up again. A little bit of dark clouds above the stadium now. That one outside and low for ball number 3. Count now full, 3-2. John Kramer has stayed in there so far, Grace Ellen.
He's hanging in there, and got a little mix-up here. The pitcher dropped the ball on the on the pass back. Just kind of like he dropped it. It was like, man.
Yeah, just
sad.
You come into a tough situation with runners in scoring position, and then you drop a throw by your catcher Theo Coomer for the Texas State Bobcats. That one a little low for ball number 4, and John Kramer is going to walk to load the bases once again for the Mountaineers.
Mayo showing some serious promise coming out with 2 strikes off the bat. And then just 4 balls in a row to walk the batter. Just definitely wasn't what we were expecting after such a hot start, but now the bases are loaded once again.
Jackson Mayo, so far this season's pitched 1 2/3 innings, has allowed 3 hits, 1 run. First pitch in there for strike number 1 against Tyler Figueroa, the transfer from Siena for the Mountaineers. As you know, they started the series last year against Siena. That one swung on by Figueroa, foul. Count now 0-2.
Just not enough of it, making connection with the bat there. Going foul off to the right here by the Texas State bench.
0-2. That one swung on by Figueroa. It's far towards left field. Under it is the left fielder Baker, and he makes the catch, but Cam Miller's going to get home, and Joseph Moore is going to be able to get to third. Or excuse me, that's Braxton Church getting to third. So 1 out, but it's off of a sacrifice fly by Tyler Figueroa, and now runners still at second and third. Cam Miller was able to score to make it 3-0. And now coming up to bat for the Mountaineers, number 10, Tanner McCammon, who came in for Juan Correa last game, yesterday against Texas State. Played at first base, now playing for the Mountaineers in the third base position where he usually plays. It'll be interesting to see when Juan Correa makes his return. You've already won the series, so you probably wouldn't put him in this game. First pitch to McCammon, inside for ball number 1, 1-0.
It is interesting when you look at such a strong player like Correa on this App State hitting lineup. It is just like do you push it when you've already won a series? Not to mention the first time App State's ever beat Texas State in a series.
Second pitch down the middle for strike number 1.
So it is sort of something when you're looking at Coach Kerman and just like, hey, maybe we rest you just to make sure you are like just in great shape for this next series coming up.
They'll face Charlotte. That one swung on and missed by McCammon for strike number 2. They'll face Charlotte this Tuesday at Charlotte. They already faced the 49ers earlier last Tuesday on a 5-4 thriller versus them. And then they'll go to Statesboro to face Georgia Southern in their next Sun Belt series away. The next time they're home is to face High Point. That one swung on towards second base. On it is Tabor. He sort of jumbles the ball a bit, gets the out at first. However, scoring is Braxton Church at third. And John Kramer will get to third after Braxton Church scores. It is now 4-0 Mountaineers with 2 outs in the bottom of the first. So another sacrifice hit by the Mountaineers, that time by Tanner McCammon, to make it now 4-0 for the Mountaineers.
You're seeing
the Texas State Bobcats.
You're seeing the benefits of the Mountaineers getting so many batters on early on with Bryson Dudley, and especially those 2 runs early on without any outs. And so they've been able to take these sacrifice outs and still be able to score.
Now up for the Mountaineers, coming in Charlie Evans, who came in late in the game as a pinch runner for Jonathan Schwerup. Now comes into the game starting for the Mountaineers. So far only 16 at-bats, count 0-1, now 0-2. As Charlie Evans faces Jackson Mayo, just trying to get out of this inning for the Texas State Bobcats, who last game had to reach really deep into their bullpen, went through 4 or 5 pitchers. 0-2 count, that one inside for ball number 1.
Texas State really going off of what you said with the bullpen there. They went through 6 pitchers on the Friday, went through another handful in the 11th inning yesterday. So you really think them switching their pitcher early on in the first inning cannot be a good start for this Texas State team.
A pitch inside for ball number 2 to Charlie Evans. So far only batting .062 on the year, but .211 on base percentage. Hasn't gotten a lot of opportunities, but gets an opportunity today for the Mountaineers to shine as they switch up the lineup again. That one in there for strike number 3. And Charlie Evans, it's strike number 2. The board was wrong as the wind continues to howl into our booth. And now count 3-2 for Charlie Evans. Full count. That pitch is outside for ball number 4, and Charlie Evans able to walk for the Mountaineers and keep the rally going in the bottom of the first.
It is just interesting. The Mountaineers early on in this game, and we saw it yesterday, they don't even have to make contact a lot of times because they've gotten so lucky with the amount of walks they've been able to. Just yesterday, the first pitcher, we had Valentina come in, and he hit four of the App State batters. And it is just when you're doing that, you're setting yourself up for, like, you're not letting your defense be able to work with much as they're having to turn double plays or they're having to throw home and they can't even get the runner out at first because they're just trying to prevent the score. And you don't want to be doing that in your first and second innings especially.
Speaking of players who get on base, Tyler Lichtenberger now up for the Mountaineers in the 9-hole. We've now gone through all the batters for the Mountaineers after Lichtenberger. Jackson Mayo tries to pick off Charlie Evans at first, however, is unsuccessful. We saw a lot of that yesterday in the game against Texas State. Valentine tried it multiple times, now faces Lichtenberger, who got 3 hits last game against Texas State. That first one's in there for strike number 1. 2 outs in the bottom of the first. Mountaineers lead 4-0, firstly off of a Braxton Church double, 2 RBI, and then a sacrifice hit later by Tanner McCammon. That second one swung on and missed by Tyler Lichtenberger for strike number 2. Count now 0-2 for Lichtenberger, and Jackson Mayo just trying to get out of the inning. It was actually Tyler Figueroa who had the sacrifice fly to left field. Got Cam Miller to score to make it 4-0. Now 0-2 for Lichtenberger with 2 outs in the bottom of the first. That one's sent in a little outside for ball number 1.
And again, we're seeing just working high up into the count, the pitcher's ahead, and then we have that next ball. And it's like, okay, maybe you try and get a little creative. However, at this point, you're down 4 in the first inning. You would think, why not just go ahead and end it?
1-2 count for Lichtenberger. Going is Charlie Evans. Lichtenberger, however, swings it foul, and it doesn't matter, as Charlie Evans will have to make his way back to first. And he'll do the long trudge back.
Always a safe steal when you're working off first and you want to go second, kind of hoping that, hey, maybe you can bait the catcher and see if they'll throw down to second and maybe there's an error and you can get your guy on third to run home. So always an interesting call.
Tyler Lichtenberger so far has hit in 13 of the 15 games, but has reached base in all 15. Charlie Evans goes again, and once again, Lichtenberger tips it foul, and Charlie Evans will have to go back to first again. Count still 1-2.
Something to watch in the ever-changing Boone weather up here. We've got a little bit of sprinkles falling down now. Just a little drizzle happening on the field now as we see some raindrops start to fall.
Starting to rain a bit, not enough to really cause the delay. Kermit Smith was talking with the umpire a little bit at home plate, but looks like we'll continue playing here as the field is turf, so rain not having too much of a play here as not only is the grass turf, but also the field itself. You see a lot in the newer baseball fields. That one's hit by Lichtenberger. It almost hits the umpire at shortstop. Making the play is Vassos, but it looks like he wasn't able to make the throw. And Braxton Church was able to score to make it 5-0, and Lichtenberger will be safe at first, and making it to second is Charlie Evans.
It looks like with Vassos, when he fielded the ball at shortstop, the ball got stuck in the netting of his glove. Right now you can see he's talking to his second baseman, and they're just exchanging thoughts of, hey, what's going on? Is your glove okay? He took off his glove and looked at it almost puzzled, just confused of how, like, what am I supposed to do here? The ball, I can't get it out.
Did seem like the ball got stuck in there a little bit. It's now back to the top of the lineup, Dylan Moak, when he hits that first one foul. Count 0-1. So Lichtenberger once again gets on base. He's gotten on base in all 15 games he's played. Make it 16 now. Or 18, excuse me, as we've had 3 games versus Texas State. The game notes are only updated to March 14th. 0-1 count now from Oakland. Going is both Lichtenberger and Charlie Evans. They're going to send Charlie Evans home off of a base hit. And once again, Mountaineers able to score. It's now 6-0 for the Mountaineers, and Lichtenberger will make it to second off of a nice base hit there by Dylan Moquin in left center.
Lichtenberger doing a great job with the base running, but also Dylan Moquin. got a very lucky bounce there as the ball bounced up around the pitcher's mound, and when Vassos went to field the ball was had bounced just before him, and he wasn't able to keep control of the ball, so struggling with 2 errors there, costly to get 2 more Mountaineer runs.
I'll now face Joseph Zamora, who got a double earlier today. That one outside for ball number 1, count 1-0 against Zamora. And his second at bat already in the bottom of the first. Mountaineers making quick work of the Texas State Bobcats, already 6-0 in the bottom of the first. 2 outs. Jackson Mayo still trying to get out of it. Runners on second and first. Lichtenberger at second. Moquin at first. That one swung on by Zamora. A little dribbler towards the pitcher, Jackson Mayo, and he makes the play at first to Austin Eaton to get out of the inning, but not before. The Mountaineers get 6 runs off of 4 hits and no errors. And when we return, Texas State is going to have a big deficit to cut into here, and Grace Ellen Callihan will take over on play-by-play for innings 2 and 3.
And welcome back to App State Baseball here up on the mountain. I'm joined here by Jordan Luker. If you're just now joining us, it is 6-0 after the first inning as Texas State comes up to the plate. App State coming off of a quick start with no home runs, all base hits, and 6 people making it all the way home as App State went through their entire lineup. But for App State, we have Alan Shipley up to the plate now with Everett Harris pitching for the Mountaineers. Your first pitch in, outside for ball 1.
And you see, gonna probably see some big swings now by Texas State. Grace Ellen just trying to get anything. You're already down 6-0 in the top of the second inning.
Next pitch in, we're gonna get strike 1. Working over, coming into the inside of the plate just a little bit there. As we're even with 1 ball and 1 strike. Third pitch. He's going to go way too inside there. So worked his way all the way across the plate there on those 3 pitches.
So he went from outside down the middle and now inside. You see Everett Harris do that a lot. He'll try and work around the pitching zone, get you to try and swing. However, Shibley so far taking none of it.
Oh, we got a piece of the bat there. It's going to be fielded by the third base and all the way across to Cam Miller. And that is going to be your first out of the inning. Alrighty, 1 batter, 1 out, just exactly how it went in the first inning. 3 batters, 3 outs for Texas State. However, next up to the plate, we have Austin Eaton, first baseman for Texas State.
That was Tanner McCammon on the play. Playing at third base today, Grace Ellen. Played at first yesterday in place of Juan Correa. However, now Cam Miller takes his spot. So some switching around in the infield for Kermit Smith.
We're going to have it just inside. There on the first pitch.
Looks like Everett Harris not throwing a lot of strikes right now, just trying to get you to swing.
Oh, just a little tip. Wanted that ball right there. However, just tipped off his bat. With our first strike on the count. So it's 1-1 with 1 out here. Nobody on base. Third pitch, and he's got his second strike.
That one right down the middle there for Everett Harris. Caught him looking there. Now Austin Eaton in a tough situation. Just trying to get anything going if you're Texas State right now. Any sort of base hit to get the motivation going and somehow progress off of that. Already down 6-0.
Oh, and got a piece of the bat. It's heading towards left field. So we're tracking it down, and that's going to be a fly out with 2 batters down in the top of the second.
And Tyler Figueroa, the left fielder, had to run for that one. The wind possibly playing a little bit of a role in this one, Grace Ellen, as we'll probably see a couple drops in the outfield sooner rather than later, given this wind, as we saw last game and the game before that. It's always windy up here.
Now we have Cole Tabor stepping up to the plate. Junior here for Texas State. So we have our first pitch and tries to go for the bunt. However, goes off the top of his bat and goes foul.
Yeah, and that just plays into trying to get any sort of base hit, Grace Ellen. You're already 2 outs in the top of the second. You're trying to just get any sort of momentum going your way against Everett Harris here.
Cole Tabor. It's going to be high in the strike zone there for ball 1. So 1 ball and 1 strike with 2 outs here at the top of the second. And Cole Tabor, someone to look in, played some ball at A&M not too long ago. So with that SEC experience, and splits it right into left field, and Figueroa with an amazing diving catch just in the inning there. What a play in left field.
What a nice job there. Figueroa got 2 balls hit to him. Had to make 2 tough plays there. First one was windy, and then the second one he had to dive for it. But that's exactly what you want to see out of your outfield if you're the Mountaineers. What a play by the Siena transfer.
So with some quick defense by the App State Mountaineers, they're up next. Batting for your Mountaineers at the bottom of the second. And welcome back. And we've got some App State baseball back here again for you. As App State taking on Texas State. Here's Cam Miller is coming up to the plate. Last time at bat, he made it all the way home. One of 6 Mountaineers to do so. He's way outside there for ball 1.
Yeah, and last time up, able to walk Grace Ellen. Part of that start for the Mountaineer rally, and he's been progressing really nicely throughout his time here for the Mountaineers. Got a few starts his freshman years. That one's a strike towards him.
Just below the strike zone, so it's over the plate just below. The third pitch here. Going to be off. Outside again. 2 balls, 1 strike. The pitcher for is Jackson Mayo as he came in halfway through the first inning when he subbed in for Austin. We've got a hit for splitting the first baseman and second baseman all the way out into outfield for a base hit for Cam Miller.
Yeah, and that was just an unfortunate situation there for second baseman Tabor. He was all the way rotated almost towards the actual second base line. And unfortunately for him, Cam Miller was just able to split the middle between him and Eaton to get the nice base hit there and already get on base for the first time today.
Following up Cam Miller, we have Braxton Church come up 4th in the lineup. And just a swing and a miss. Starting out strong for Braxton Church there. Just going for it all. I got nothing to lose right now.
He was going for another double, I think, there. He was the one who got it started with a double RBI earlier for the Mountaineers. Got it started 2-0.
So Cam Miller on first. And we got a hit as it's bouncing out. Going to be fielded. Going to get the lead runner, Cam Miller, out. As the second baseman, Austin Eaton, turned the play to Vosas there.
And that was a nice play there towards Ryan Farber, the shortstop. And Tabor made the right play. You get the runner who's advancing, so Braxton Church will get on by fielder's choice. And now, looking a little better defensively right now, Grace Ellen, for this infield for the Bobcats.
Absolutely. Definitely more promise as they didn't get an out until they were 4 runs down in the first inning. As we've got the Texas State coach coming up and talking to our home plate umpires. Now the umpires are convening near the pitcher mound.
What he's challenging, because Cam Miller was out at second. That's no doubt about that.
However, Texas State did not try and turn the double play there as they were just barely beat Cam Miller to the second base bag.
That's an interesting.
So I am unsure what else we could be conversing about.
How are we in the bottom of the second when you've already had so much confusion going on? And they might actually be challenging Grace Ellen if Braxton Church hit the correct bag. So there's 2 bags. I'll explain it real quick. There's 2 bags on first base, and if Braxton Church hits the orange bag, that means he's not trying to advance, but if he hits the white bag, that means he's trying to advance and go to second. Meaning, they could technically get him out in that situation. I think that's what Coach Trout, not related to Mike Trout, for Texas State, is trying to get at here, possibly.
As
he's arguing with him right now.
Got the third base umpire and home plate umpire talking with Coach Trout, who has, thank you, Jordan, not related to Mike Trout. So it's a good little fun fact for you today. Texas State coach not related to Mike Trout. There you go, folks, for all of y'all listening in at home.
If you didn't know already. And now we go to the actual review.
All right, so we were just chatting with coffee there.
It's always like, what is it about Sunbelt reviews in particular? I don't know what it is. It's whether it's basketball, football, baseball, volleyball. It always seems to take longer than if it was the SEC. That's just me, maybe.
Hey, and you know what? Maybe they're just even more diligent about their job than the
I don't know about that.
officials in the SEC. I don't know, man. Maybe people are missing out on Sunbelt play right now. This is something that we provide in the Sunbelt Conference. We are very diligent with our reviews. We want to make sure that we get them right. As right now we've got the first base umpire talking with Coach Smith for App State right now.
Now Kermit Smith having his own word with the home plate umpire.
Absolutely. Rocking the reading glasses, very just trying to keep involved of like, hey, what's going on right now? What's Coach Trout, not related to Mike Trout, saying?
Steven Trout. it would be funny if his name was also Mike Trout.
Oh, man.
And I know I'm already going to make that mistake today. I mean, he's been here quite a bit with Texas State, though, has a winning record. And right now, so before this series, Grace Ellen, it was 5-2. He had a record against App State, but now it's 5-5. Or App State's trying to make it 5-5, excuse me, if they sweep this series. But he's had quite the talent with him. He's had 4 MLB draftees with him, 8 all-conference players and 7 All-Americans on his team. So Stephen Trout not messing around when it comes to talent at Texas State.
Absolutely not. And that firepower contributing to this is the first time App State has ever beaten Texas State in a series.
You're right.
As the home plate umpire comes back out out of the review booth.
Ooh,
And he's going to be called out.
No, they called the
safe.
He
Never
pointed
mind.
to second base. He called him out. Pointed to first, called him safe. That was the review.
Thank you for the clarification, Jordan. I got a little excited there. I was like, and the drama continues, everybody. So everything's staying the same how it is. Cam Miller will be called out at second. Braxton Church safe on first. Now, as we get back into the action. As you recall, we had John Kramer up to the plate. Hasn't taken a pitch yet, so 0 balls, 0 strikes, starting fresh. He's going to swing and not make any contact for the first strike.
Well, and you know, during that lengthy review, Jackson Mayo, Grace Ellen, was warming up that entire time. He might be throwing some heat and having a plan here for John Kramer the whole way through, as he had time to go through 10 or 12 pitches throughout that review.
Oh, and as Braxton Church takes to second, thinks about third on the steal as the ball went behind the catcher, Coomer. As Texas State gets it under control, and Church stops at second after a successful steal.
They're going to review it. And now they're going back to it. So we have quite a bit of delay in this game, Grace Ellen, and we're only in the bottom of the second.
Absolutely. We're hearing it from the App State fans, too. I think they're ready for the game to get going. Pick up some steam here. Next pitch. It's going to be outside for 2 balls and a strike.
That's exactly the same pitch he sent to him the first time. John Kramer was ready for it that time. A little bit of a breaking ball outside and low to John Kramer that time.
Next start gets a piece of it, but it's going to go wide to the right for foul. Didn't even make it past the first base bag. This Texas State's bench is now going to have to chase that ball down.
Yeah, and he hit it just a little too inside of the barrel there. That's what caused it to sort of drift towards first. A little more contact.
2 balls, 2 strikes, 1 out. Checks second base, and it's going to get the strikeout. Swinging. Kramer was trying to get Braxton Church home, but no luck this time. As we're 2 outs down, and Tyler Figueroa is up to hit for the Mountaineers.
I'm glad you got the pronunciation down.
Thank
now.
you.
You were working all throughout our warm-ups here to try and get his name right, and you got it, Tyler Figueroa.
Thank you. I really appreciate it, Jordan. It definitely took the effort, that's for sure. Oh my gosh, and right back to the pitcher as he's going to try and beat him to first, and just a little toss to the first baseman, Austin Eaton. Man, that hurts.
Yeah,
he is shaking his arm off Jackson Mayo there.
And I'm really surprised he was able to make the play. And now looks like we're going to have a meeting, or now they're going to have just a random delay in the game to do a promotion, which is a little interesting here. But oh, excuse me, it was 3 outs. I'm not even paying attention. We were so busy with Jackson Mayo getting hit by the ball, we didn't see that it was 3 outs.
Hey, you know what? On this little weird commercial break we're going to let App State get warmed up, and we'll be right back here with you as it is 6-0 here as we're going to the top of the third. And we're back here. Top of the third as App State's taking on Texas State to end the series. App State's led the series 2-0, and they're looking to sweep them as they're up 6 right now at the top of the third with Everett Harris pitching. We have Samson Pugh, the outfielder for Texas State, who's going to tip this one foul behind him. Started off with 1 strike.
Yeah, and once again, Grace Ellen, as I mentioned in the second, right now for Texas State, you're just trying to make any sort of contact with the ball, try and get a rally going, as App State already up 6-0 against you.
And with the next pitch, it's going to be high with ball 1. Working even in the count now. Samson Pugh steps back into the batter's box. 8 on the pitching clock here. Everett Harris taking his time on this pitch. Really inside. Pugh doing a great job, just holding his composure. That was inches away from his arm there.
Yeah, well, you got to be dead serious. I mean, if you get hit, you get a free base. Might as well take it there.
Absolutely. Taking any base they can hit here, and it's going to go out to the shortstop as they pitch it back to Cam Miller. But that was Lichtenberger on the field to get that first out.
Great play there by Lichtenberger to get the out towards Cam Miller. And Mountaineer infield working great so far, Grace Ellen. Nothing so far. Everett Harris has yet to get a strikeout today. It's been all the infield and outfield making plays for him.
Something that App State pitchers always talk about, that they can trust their defense behind them, which allows them to get creative at the plate. Now with Justin Bosas here, and Everett's going to get a strike again to lead the count. The redshirt sophomore readying up again. This is going to be a ball yet again, matching his count from the first one. We'll see maybe if Bosas gets the hit here.
And Bosas trying to work something. I mean, Texas State has yet to go through their entire lineup yet.
And it's going to be inside on that next one. So now Everett's behind the count, 2-1.
It's got to be unfortunate for Everett. I mean, you're so close to having a perfect game, but you just get that one hit, and now it's ruined.
Oh, if only. Maybe one day. We got a hit. It's going to go back to Lichtenberger. Just pitch it back to Cameron Miller. And they're going to get another one out at first. So just another quick, easy turn to shortstop to first.
And once again there, it seems like Texas State likes to pick an App State player to hit the ball towards. In the first inning, it was Figueroa. And in this inning, it's been Tyler Lichtenberger at short.
And now, following up in the lineup, we have Theo Coomer, the catcher. Normally a little interesting seeing the catcher at the end of the lineup. However, first pitch is going to be high and outside for ball 1. The next pitch in, it's going to go now to Joseph Zamora at second, who's going to take it his time to turn that for first, and that's going to be another 3-batter inning for Texas State. Seeing no life on offense, but we'll see if they can get something going on defense as we go to the bottom of the third. And welcome back to 90.5 WASU YouTube App State Baseball, as we've got the end of the series against Texas State here at App State. As Tanner McCammon comes up to bat. I looked at every name and I wanted to say the last name of a completely different player, but now we're set. It's Tanner McCammon. He's got 2 hits so far this year, and so looking for more as we go back to that instance where Correa's not playing today. Tanner McCammon seeing some playing time because of it. Well, the first pitch is outside.
And it just shows you, Grace Ellen, just how many hitters are on this Mountaineer team. And obviously, you want Juan Correa on your team no matter what. But when you have this much depth in your batter's box, it really can show you Mountaineers are winning games without him.
And look at that as he shoots it off to the shortstop position and is able to get to first. So that was Ryan Farber there, who we made an error earlier, as it wasn't Bosas, it was Farber with the error earlier, and then the ball got stuck in his glove as well, so that's his 3rd ball that's come his way that he hasn't been able to turn it out.
Yeah, 3rd hard hit ball, as we see another player, Grace Ellen, coming in for the Mountaineers who doesn't usually get a lot of playing time in some of the games, Charlie Evans, but now coming in to start for the Mountaineers today.
First pitch in, it's going to be a strike. So you've got 1 strike. It is 6-0 App State after that entertaining first inning. No action in the second or at the top of the third. With McCammon on first. And he's going to check the runner.
Yeah, and I think the balls are starting to get wet there. First baseman Austin Eaton kind of jumbled it a little bit after catching it. Tanner McCammon would have been safe either way, however. A little bit of wet balls coming into play now.
It's going to bounce off the catcher's foot here with Coomer. And so McCammon's going to make his way to second with a steal.
Yeah, and that's the 2nd wild pitch there it's now Colby Diaz, the pitcher. And another wild pitch there, the 2nd wild pitch of the game. As Jackson Mayo had one in the 2nd, but so far, Mountaineers haven't scored since the 1st.
Colby Diaz coming in for the 3rd inning as Texas State's still trying to find some signs of life here on defense. Trying to keep any more runs for App State going. As this next pitch is just gonna tip it away, Evans, to stay alive as he's down 2 with 2 strikes and no outs here at the bottom of the 3rd. But Colby Diaz only pitched 6 games in relief last year, so looking to get some more experience under his belt as he's getting a chance here, as Texas State definitely working way into their bullpen as Evans fouls this one foul as well. Still no balls off of these 2 strikes, just 2 foul shots.
Yeah, and you mentioned the bullpen there, Grace Ellen. Colby Diaz, the last time he pitched was March 9th at Campbell. He pitched 2 1/3 innings there. Had 1 earned run against him.
As he sets up for his 5th pitch, checks the 2nd. And not even that hard of a throw, just going to make sure that McCammon doesn't take off to 3rd.
A little bit of just a, hey, I know what you're doing there, throw to Tabor, who now is going to remain at 2nd. And now Coach Trout.
Not related to Mike Trout.
Another conversation with the first base umpire, Stephen Trout. That's his 3rd conversation with the umpire today so far regarding something going on in the game. And now we'll go back.
Looks like he was questioning the count there.
It's probably to do with the video board. Sometimes.
Looks like the count is 2-1. There is a ball.
Yeah, that's what I thought. That's what I had on my score sheet. However, I didn't want to say anything.
So we've been double checked there.
Well, sometimes with the electronic scoreboard, it's hard because you got to press those. I've done it before. You got to press those buttons down really hard, and sometimes it gets away from you, especially with a fast-paced pitcher. And now Stephen Trout yelling at the umpire to get the count right.
As we're starting conference play, we're even hearing some words from App State fans, as they've yet again been complaining that this game's definitely moving along slowly, as we've just now gotten to the bottom of the third, but it feels like we'd be further along at this point, as we're going to fumble another pitch by the catcher Coomer,
Yeah,
and McCammon's going to make his way to third.
I think that one hit the turf a little bit there, Grace Ellen, as Coomer sort of lost the ball a little bit. So, and now there are going to be questions over whether the ball's wet or not, as it looks like Colby Diaz will get a new ball. It looks like that ball got away from him on that one, and that's what caused the wild pitch for catcher Theo Coomer.
At the change of the inning, we did see the rain pick up again, and now it's faded off again. So the rain on and off today as the count's 2-2 with no outs here. The bottom of the third, the runner in scoring position on third. And Charlie Evans going to strike out there swinging to get the first out. Colby Diaz showing some signs of life with McCammon on third.
And that's exactly what you want. Unfortunately, Tanner McCammon, Grace Ellen, should still be at first. However, with 2 wild pitches already by Colby Diaz, he's able to make his way to third without any bat contact or runners advancing.
And now we have Tyler Lichtenberger to the plate. And it's going to be a ball on the first pitch. Just not quite high enough in the strike zone. As Lichtenberger steps back into the batter's box. Diaz with the second pitch. And it's going to be high up in the air, looking like a pop fly into left field. And that's going to be Baker with the play. And they're going to have a runner go home. And he's going to slide and be safe. And that's McCammon getting the 7th run for your Mountaineers.
And once again, Tyler Lichtenberger there with the sacrifice fly. That's the 3rd one today for the Mountaineers. Grace Ellen on sacrifice hits, and it looks like the turf for the home plate came up a little bit when Tanner McCammon slid, and now they have to fix it.
Absolutely. I'm not sure what type of, oh, it just looks like they're combing out the
Looks
turf
like
below.
Looks like there was probably some air bubbles there with the rain coming into the turf, and then when Tanner McCammon slid in, it kind of
absolutely, and you have to think the turf is slick here too, with just this light
is.
drizzle. That this base running, you really have to focus on planting your feet because it's so easy for your feet to slip out from underneath you. But now as we head back up to the top of the lineup, Dylan Moquin. Oh, and just going to get hit in the back.
And
First
that's his
pitch.
Second hit by pitch of the game.
Man, not his day at all.
Not.
Jordan, you talked about how we're top 50 in the nation, but
Well,
we were a lot higher last year, so this team is used to it.
We'll be ranking up a little bit here. I don't know how. UC Irvine, we were looking at it earlier, already has 53 players hit by pitch, the Anteaters. And they're number 1 in the nation right now in terms of hit by pitch. But App State making a run for it. That probably puts us up to about the top 20 with 2 players hit by pitch already today.
Absolutely. Only 16 games played, too. Each one of their starters has at least 2. Their leading player has 9 hit by pitches. So you got to think, walking up to the plate each time, like, man, just crossing your fingers you don't get hit again.
Well, he's probably a lefty. I got hit so much when I played baseball in Little League, and I still have bruises on my thigh, I think, from 10 years ago.
Well, now as we have Joseph Samora up, who's also a lefty. He's ahead in the count 1 as we've got a runner go for App State, and they're going to get him for the 3rd out of the inning.
Yeah, that was Moquin on the run there, and just no time as Theo Coomer with an absolutely perfect throw to second baseman there, Tabor, and he was able to make the play to get out of the inning.
Theo Coomer doing a great job of getting out after fumbling the ball a little bit behind the plate. So Texas State gets out with only giving up 1 in the 3rd, but it is 7-0. App State is ahead, but you're listening to App State Baseball on 90.5 WASU YouTube.
Welcome back to Mountaineer Baseball here on 90.5 WASU's YouTube channel for a sort of on and off rainy day here at Jim and Betty Smith Stadium. No problem though as we continue to play baseball. Mountaineers up 7-0 off of 6 hits against the Texas State Bobcats, going for the sweep in their first Sun Belt series, trying to go 3-0 in Sun Belt play to start the year before they play Charlotte out of conference and then go to Statesboro to face the Georgia Southern Eagles next weekend. Everett Harris still in at pitcher. He'll face the top of the lineup, Chase Moore. First pitch in there for strike number 1.
Yeah, Texas State just now working through their lineup. App State's already worked through their lineup twice at this point, and they have just made it to the top with Mora.
0-1 becomes 0-2 as Everett Harris able to work around the strike zone. A little high and outside there, however, umpire calls it a strike. Count now 0-2 for Chase Moore, who's gotten the only hit of the day for Texas State. That one swung on towards shortstop. Lichtenberger's on it. This is going to be a tough play to first, but he makes the play to Cameron Miller. A nice 6-3 in the scorebook for Tyler Lichtenberger again, who's now had his third putout for the Mountaineers.
Chase Moore doing a not even that hard of a hit, which made it so hard for Lichtenberger to make the play because the ball just slowly got there as it took 2 bounces before it even made it to the shortstop position.
Everett Harris has yet to get a strikeout in his 3 1/3 innings pitched so far today. However, the Mountaineer defense has come in clutch so far for him, especially in that left side. Now faces lefty Caden Baker, the left fielder for the Texas State Bobcats. That one's inside for ball number 1. 1-0 count now for Baker. And Everett Harris continuing a masterclass Maddox-type game here as that one swung on foul for strike number 1. Count even, 1-1.
Caden Baker swinging, just trying to get something going. Get that second hit on the board as Texas State definitely looking for something as they're down early, 7-0.
Everett Harris will get a new ball as turf's still a little wet out there, and you want to make sure it doesn't slip from your hand. 1 out in the top of the 4th. Count even, 1-1 for Caden Baker. Everett Harris still trying to work around this inning. That one swung on and missed for strike number 2 for Everett Harris. And now, once again, Texas State has been unable to make contact since that first hit off of the first pitch by Chase Mora, who got us started in the top of the 1st, has yet to get a hit since. 1-2, that one's high for ball number 2.
Braxton Church just knew that ball was going high there. He even relaxed a little when he caught that ball. He was like, all right, this one's outside.
Base is still empty for Texas State. Caden Baker earlier got on by fielder's choice. That was part of that double play. That one's hit towards Joseph Zamora at second. He has to jumble it a little bit, however, makes the play to Cam Miller for the second out of the inning.
Alrighty, Joseph Zamora's gotten some, just like his second one where you've got Lichtenberger on the other side of the second base bag that's had to pull off some quick plays. However, Zamora relaxed when turning that out for the second out of the inning.
That'll bring up Ryan Farber now to hit for the Texas State Bobcats. Coming in, flew out earlier off of a foul ball as Tanner McCammon was able to come up with the catch. Now just trying to get any contact for Texas State. That one's right down the middle of King Street for strike number 1 by Everett Harris.
Getting a little aggressive there, feeling comfortable with the 2 outs. Just like, hey, I dare you to swing at this one. I'm going to give it right to you. But nothing. Out of Farber.
Everett Harris looking for a comeback after quite a few earned runs against him at the College of Charleston. That one low for ball number 1, and the count now even 1-1. As Ryan Farber trying to get on base for the first time for Texas State since the first inning. They have not been able to get a runner on base from a walk or a hit. Count 1-1. That one swung on hard, but it's out of play towards third base. And count now 1-2.
Almost hit the light off in left field there. Kind of thought, oh, maybe the ball will just come back and just bounce off a light there. But no, ball's gone. So 1 ball less for the App State Mountaineers baseball team.
Everett Harris, that'll be a souvenir for a fan. Everett Harris made 18 appearances last game as that one's right down the middle for strike number 3. And the Mountaineers once again keeping the bats quiet for Texas State. And Everett Harris just continues this masterclass pitching performance for the Mountaineers. We'll be back here on 90.5 WASU YouTube as Mountaineers still up 7-0 off of 6 hits to Texas State's 1. Welcome back to App State Baseball, up 7-0 against the Texas State Bobcats. And we have another pitching change. Texas State up to their 4th pitcher, John Alkier, number 18 for Texas State, now pitching for them. Coming in after Colby Diaz only pitched an inning. And the Mountaineers trying to continue this rally, trying to make it a 10-run lead before the 7th inning to go for another mercy rule as they did it in the first game, 15 runs earlier. That one outside for ball number 1. Facing Joseph Zamora, the second hitter in this lineup for the Mountaineers, after Dylan Moquin was caught stealing earlier for the 3rd out. 1-0 count. That one's inside for ball number 2. So far, John Alkier still getting a little warm out there right now.
And it is interesting seeing that such a quick pitching change because as we were talking about earlier, Texas State has already gone through a huge part of their bullpen at this point in the series. And so it's interesting when you saw Diaz, like he gave up a run, however, only went through 4 batters, whereas early on when you saw Dudley go out halfway through the 1st inning.
That one swung on and missed for strike number 1 by Joseph Zamora.
It is just sort of an interesting thought from my point of view. Like, you give away the run, however, Diaz did see success against App State hitters that had traditionally been working the other pitchers.
That one swung on towards center field. It's going to go down, however. Samson Pugh with a nice play there from center to get the out for Texas State.
That was like a line shot right down the middle of the A in the outfield there, only drifting a little bit to the left to make the play.
So that'll bring up Cameron Miller once again for the Mountaineers. Has already gone up to bat twice today. Walked and then scored and then got a single, but was left on base. First pitch to Cam Miller in there for strike number 1. Count 0-1 for Cam Miller. John Alkier, give you a little history of him, has only pitched 2 innings so far for the Bobcats, as he'll send in the second pitch inside for ball number 1. Count 1-1. Pitched against Illinois, on February 22nd. Pitched 1 inning there, allowed 1 hit, 1 run. And then pitched at Campbell, allowed 1 hit, got 1 strikeout to get out of the inning. So he's only pitched 2 innings so far, and now The rookie coming in as that one's down the middle for strike number 2 to Cam Miller. Count now 1-2.
A hitter that even though he is down early, Cam Miller has been known to be reliable for this App State offense.
Here's the payoff pitch. That one down the middle for strike number 3, and Cam Miller strikes out looking, and John Alkier gets a nice looking strikeout there to make it 2 outs in the bottom of the 4th for the Mountaineers.
My apologies to any Mountaineer fans listening. I completely announced or jinxed it, and I explained my sincerest apologies as the next batter comes up to the plate.
It'll be Braxton Church, the catcher for the Mountaineers. Already got a double earlier, 2 RBIs on that, and then scored himself. Then got on to first off of a fielder's choice, but then was part of a play to from second to shortstop that got him out. And now with 2 outs in the bottom of the 4th, bases empty for the Mountaineers. Looking to make it a 10-run game to try and get out of this game early. First pitch by Alkier, inside for ball number 1.
That was one that Braxton Church looked like he kind of held his breath on a little bit with that more interesting batter's approach of how he sets his feet in the batter's box.
0-1, Braxton Church showed bunt, but it looks like he'll get hit by the pitch. And that'll be the 3rd hit by pitch for the Mountaineers, and Braxton Church will get on first.
It is interesting how much these Texas State pitchers are letting players get onto the bases there. We saw 4 players get hit by the pitch early on yesterday, and already off to their 3rd out of the gate.
Now coming up for the Mountaineers, John Kramer, who got a double earlier, waiting for live stats to update. So Braxton Church will be at first, facing John Alkier, the transfer from Galveston College, the junior. Time called. Looks like it's going to start raining hard now, and once again, just this on and off weather, Grace Allen. It's been one cloud this entire day, has just sort of been looming over Jim and Betty Smith Stadium, and now Stephen Trout will have a conversation with his pitcher, John Alkier, and we're going to get another bullpen change coming in here, as it looks like we will, as there's some action in there. There is no action down there right now. Stephen Trout just having a conversation with John Alkier, the pitcher.
Just looks like the action in the bullpen is limited to some pitchers running to their raincoats and to the bullpen for some extra shelter.
So 2 outs in the bottom of the 4th. John Alkier trying to get out of the inning without letting the Mountaineers score. Going is Braxton Church, and he will not make it to second. That will be an easy out, caught stealing for Braxton Church, and a nice throw there by Theo Coomer gets the Bobcats out of the inning. So the Mountaineers scoreless and hitless in this bottom of the 4th inning, but still up 7-0 against the Texas State Bobcats. We'll be right back with more 5th inning action here on 90.5 WASU YouTube. We welcome you back to Beaver Field here at Jim and Betty Smith Stadium on a dreary day in Boone, North Carolina. App State Mountaineers up against the Texas State Bobcats, going for the sweep so far, looking good, up 7-0. Mostly off of the pitching of Everett Harris, who had yet to get a strikeout until the top of the fourth, and now the top of the fifth will face Shibley, Alan Shibley, for the Bobcats. That one's hit in the middle towards second. On it is Zamora, however, he jumbles the ball, and Shibley's going to be able to make it to first off of a hit. We're going to see if they're counted as an error there for Zamora, but the balls are wet, and it takes a lot to make an error happen. We'll see if they count Zamora for the error.
That was definitely one of the more trickier balls that Zamora's had to handle today in this matchup that's had some unpredictable weather, that's for sure. However, had to lean over closer to the second base, so it was going to be a hard play to turn even if he fielded the ball correctly.
And they'll call it a single for Shibley. And now coming up to bat, Austin Eaton, the first baseman. Everett Harris sets up. That one hits him, and now Texas State benefits from a hit by pitch as that hits Eaton right in his chest. And now we have runners on first and second, Grace Ellen.
This is very unlike what we've seen out of Harris so far today. After such a great job in the first 4 innings, to see him lead, sort of let off a, well, actually, in fact, we saw an infield, I don't know if it's been counted as an error yet, or just at least a single. All right. So just Joseph Zamora just bobbling the ball there. That didn't lead to a ground out at first, but that's something that Harris has really trusted in his pitching today, is that he's only gotten 1 strikeout.
So now he'll face Cole Tabor with runners on second and first. Shibley at second, Eaton at first. That pitch a little low for ball number 1. 1-0 count now for Cole Tabor.
It'll be interesting to see, though, how Harris performs with 2 runners on, as we have yet to see 2 base runners on today for Texas State here at the top of the 5th.
Cole Tabor from San Antonio, Texas. The junior went to Reagan High School, a legendary high school in that San Antonio area. That one is low and inside for ball number 2, count 2-0.
Saw some emotion here as the Texas State bench is starting to come to life a little bit.
Everett Harris so far pitched 4 innings, 1 strikeout, has mostly relied on his infield to make the plays. 2-0 pitch is down the middle for strike number 1 to Tabor. Count now 2-1.
Starting to see some action now as Harris is making some progress in the count.
2-1 count now for Cole Tabor. Trying to continue this rally with no outs in the top of the 5th for Texas State. Harris looks back towards second, sends the pitch in, but it's inside for ball number 3. Count 3-1.
This really is a very unique situation, as I was just saying. As he's behind in the count now with 2 runners on, if you walk the batter here, you've got your bases loaded and a chance for Texas State to get back into this game very quickly.
Harris looks back towards Shibley at second, sends in a ball, but it's high for ball number 4. And Cole Tabor walks to load the bases for the Texas State Bobcats. And hold on, folks, we might have a ball game on our hands. And this could get out of hand quickly for Everett Harris, as it looks like Coach Kermit Smith is going to come up to the plate to have a conversation. There was some action in the bullpen. We'll see if they'll switch him out for a reliever here, as he's already pitched 4 innings, but we'll wait a little bit. No action from the third base umpire yet to check the glove of the pitcher, but Kermit Smith might just be having a conversation with Everett Harris, being like, hey, how much do you still want to pitch right now? And are you good to pitch? As he'll face coming up Samson Pugh, who made a great play in center field earlier. Coach Kermit Smith, having great relationships with his players, is going to keep Everett Harris on the mound for now.
And Harris with 50 pitches so far at the top of the 5th, and you saw as he's had a harder time getting through the 4th and the 3rd, he did a great job of working through batters in the 1st, 2nd. Honestly, he's worked through 3 batters an inning at this point, so he's done a great job at keeping his pitch count low to this point. However, you have to think, just watching his pitch count as you get to these later innings, just like how any pitcher does once you get to that 5th, 6th inning, it is, hey, as Jordan was saying, how's the stamina of your arm?
So he'll face Samson Pugh, the center fielder. That one's sent in there for strike number 1. Everett Harris still on the mound, told Coach Kermit Smith, hey, I'm still good and ready to pitch, and he showed it right there. Count 0-1 to Pugh. Bases loaded, Shibley and Eaton in scoring position for the Bobcats. Harris now sets up for the pitch, paying no mind to the runners on the bag. That one outside for ball number 1.
Braxton Church having to move his body momentum to the right off the plate there, which becomes even more crucial of keeping that ball in front of you. With a runner on third, you cannot afford for that ball to slip behind you.
So far today, Pugh is grounded out to shortstop to Tyler Lichtenberger. Everett Harris sends in the 1-1. That one's in there for strike number 2. Still looking for his first out in the top of the 5th inning here. And with bases loaded, it's a stressful situation for Everett Harris. As once again, the rain clears and the clouds clear up a little bit. 1-2 for Samson Pugh now. Everett Harris gives a signal to Church. That one swung on and missed for strike number 3. And Everett Harris gets the first out of the inning. And so far, keeping these runners quiet on the bag is the team of Braxton Church and Everett Harris, who so far has pitched 4 1/3 innings for the Mountaineers, has only allowed 2 hits, and that's his second strikeout of the day.
And what a great example of just showing maturity and on the mound, not letting the full loaded bases get to his head and getting his second strikeout of the day at such a crucial time when you do have to do a lot more at the pitching or on the mound.
Now faces Justin Vossas. That one inside for ball number 1.
Just having to do so much on the mound right now because you can't, as much as you want to trust your defense in this situation, they just have to play perfect.
Inside for ball number 2, count now 2-0. Everett Harris last year had 18 appearances, 22 innings pitched, 15 batters struck out, and held opponents to a .266 batting average against him. Now faces a tough situation with bases loaded, 2 runners in scoring position, Eaton and Shibley. That one's sent in there. It's swung on. It's a little dribbler towards third. On it is McCammon, who makes the play at first, but not before advancing the runners and letting Alan Shibley score. And Texas State finally gets their first run of the game, but it's still 7-1 Mountaineers with runners on second and third.
And I like that decision by McCammon there fielding the ball. It was a little chopper that just barely passed the mound to choose to go to first because his momentum was heading in that direction. At that angle, he probably would have just hit the runner coming home for Texas State and not been able to turn any outs on that. So I like the idea of just take the out, you've got a solid lead, and then keep going and trust your pitcher.
It puts Tabor at second, Eaton at third. Alan Shibley able to score off of a sacrifice hit there. That one swung on hard towards shortstop, and it gets past Lichtenberger. Scoring is Eaton. Coming in is Tabor, who dives towards the plate and gets out. What a throw by Tyler Figueroa to get the out at home plate. Braxton Church had to jump over Caden Tabor to get out of the inning. He dove, and as he was diving, he touched the left leg of Tabor to get the out, and the Mountaineers still up 7-2 against Texas State here. However, it's going to be 7-1 as they did get the third out, so the run will not count there, but there will be an official review over the out there by Braxton Church.
Oh, absolutely. And I'm looking at Coach Trout right now in this Texas State bench, and he is standing on one of the bleachers, and he was signaling to the home umpire, hey, I want a review on that. He knew immediately that any run counts at this point. And, yeah, Coach Trout right now clearly not happy with that late call, as Braxton Church could not have tagged the runner any later at that point.
The score is 7-2. Excuse my confusion there, as the run will count as it was scored before the out. However, we're waiting on to see if Cole Tabor scored that last run to make it 7-3 for the Texas State Bobcats, or if Braxton Church was able to make the amazing play off of a throw there by Tyler Figueroa. And we'll have to wait and see, as Everett Harris is going to warm up a little bit for the Mountaineers on our second review of the day. What an interesting game. We've had quite a bit of controversy with some of these calls so far, and not to say it's been pretty consistent, as yesterday there was that controversial call as Samson Pugh made the throw towards home that would have been the winning run for the Mountaineers. However, umpires called them out there in that situation. Mountaineers still got the win, but calls have been a little bit fishy here. Not fishy, but controversial. Excuse my language there. But as the umpires obviously make better calls than I ever could make there. But a little controversial in some recent calls.
Absolutely, and as you start going into conference play, really every single inning does count here, and especially when you get late into these games, when it comes down to those like 1 or 2 outs where we saw yesterday, those outs become more important than ever because each win and each stand helps you in your standings in conference. And so when you look at Coach Trout today, where he's been talking with the umpires a little bit more than we saw him yesterday, you have to think, maybe it's a reaction to what we saw yesterday, and it's just Sun Belt conference games. Of each game really just does matter.
And now Everett Harris is going to have a little conversation with one of the umpires. Looks to be the third base umpire there, and he's just talking it out there. Braxton Church standing his guard at home plate, who made the if it stands amazing play. And you have to remember, Grace Ellen, it was called an out to start, meaning you need irrefutable evidence that Braxton Play was unable to make the tag on Cole Tabor before he made it to home plate, as we have another lengthy review ahead of us.
Absolutely, and it is when the umpire's rule on the field matters so much, because whatever that call is, like Jordan says, you need that evidence to be able to overturn it.
And something else they might be looking at is catcher interference, because that's what caused the controversial play last time, was the catcher, Theo Coomer, in the way of Tanner McCammon, I believe, who was going into home, and they ended up saying no, but looks like Braxton Church gave him enough room, and then he even jumped over him to make sure he wasn't interfering to make the tag, as now we'll get a word by home plate umpire, and they're going to call him out. What a play there by Braxton Church, who gets the tag to get the Mountaineers out of the inning. The score now 7-2, however, not before the Mountaineers able to end the rally for the Texas State Bobcats. And when we return, the Mountaineer Bats will return as John Kramer will be up first here on 90.5 WASU YouTube. Back here on 90.5 WASU's YouTube channel, Mountaineer Baseball, as the score 7-2, Mountaineers lead. Back up to bat, John Kramer for App State, as Texas State able to finally get 2 runs off of 2 hits last inning. And going right into the first pitch is John Alkier, who pitched last inning for the Bobcats. That's outside for ball number 1 against Kramer.
And something that's not a given right now, Texas State having pitchers continue to lay over into the next inning.
That one swung on and missed for strike number 1. Count 1-1 even now in the bottom of the 5th inning. Mountaineers so far 6 hits. John Kramer today walked and struck out. That one, check swing by Kramer. It's low for ball number 2, count 2-1.
John Kramer hasn't seen much action as he highlighted against Queens earlier on in the season.
2-1 count for John Kramer. That one outside for ball number 3. 3-1 count now for Kramer, trying to get his 2nd walk of the day.
As we were saying earlier, Kramer profiting off of, actually my bad, I'm mistaken it with another player.
And that one's inside for ball number 4, and John Kramer will walk for the 2nd time today. Getting on base for the Mountaineers so far has been a great addition to this Mountaineer lineup, getting on base at a .434 rate with a .297 batting average. And speaking of players with a really good on-base percentage, Tyler Figueroa, who has a .424 on-base percentage, coming up to bat for the Mountaineers, has walked 14 times, has more walks than strikeouts, and has 24 hits so far for the Mountaineers in 76 at-bats. Now faces John Alcare, shows bunt, however pulls back, but it's right down the middle of King Street for strike number 1 to Tyler Figueroa.
Figueroa, also the left fielder, who just made that incredible play to get the 3rd out at the end of the 4th, if you're just joining us.
0-1 count, no outs in the bottom of the 5th. Figueroa up to bat. John Kramer at first. A little throw there to first baseman Austin Eaton by John Alcare is no good as John Kramer was able to slide his way back. 0-1 count remains for Tyler Figueroa. Transfer from Siena College all the way up in New York. That one's a check swing. Umpire looks towards, and it's going to be a strike for strike number 2 for Figueroa. Count 0-2.
Figueroa just moved a little too far on that one. Just thought about the swing, and just the check swing just went a little too far, and the umpire decided that it'd be concluded as a strike.
Figueroa today, so far, sacrifice fly. That one's hit towards right field. Under it is the second baseman, Cole Tabor, and he'll make the grab. John Kramer remains at first, and Figueroa flies out to second baseman Cole Tabor, who had to run all the way to first base to make that catch.
And those pop flies have not been a given, as you normally may see in baseball within this series, due to the wind that we've had up here this weekend. Just because once it goes up that high, the wind really does take that ball wherever it wants to. And both defenses on each side of the ball have both struggled to convert those pop flies, as the ball would just move at the last second with this wind.
So 1 out in the bottom of the 5th. Alcare once again throws towards John Kramer at first, however, no good. And Austin Eaton remains on the bag. Kramer continues to take quite the big lead as Tanner McCammon up now for the Mountaineers. So far today, grounded out to second and then got a single. That one a little inside, but in there for strike number 1 to Tanner McCammon.
Alcare just trying to do a job of making sure Mountaineers don't advance. We've seen some success as far as stealing in this game, and just trying to make sure that he doesn't get any Mountaineer runners in scoring position as he checks again.
John Kramer will be safe as Alcare now, in his first multiple inning pitch appearance so far this season, pitched 1 inning against Illinois and pitched 1 inning earlier in the year. And so far, looking good against the Mountaineers, has been able to keep the bats relatively quiet. Score 7-2. Most of those runs came from the first inning as he throws back again towards John Kramer, keeping him on his toes, and Kramer is safe once again. But only 1 pitch thrown so far to Tanner McCammon.
Hey, maybe you can start counting him towards first base. He's put some heat behind him as he's trying to get Kramer.
Now focuses on McCammon. Kramer once again takes a little bit of a lead. Now throws it into McCammon. That one swung on towards third base, and it gets through the hole. And a nice base hit there for Tanner McCammon. Advances the runners. Kramer will now be on second.
Ryan Farber, the shortstop on that play, was chasing that ball, but it was just too far left, and it snuck into the outfield for a base hit there.
And that'll bring up Charlie Evans now for the Mountaineers to bat. So far today, walked and scored, then struck out in the 3rd inning. Now faces John Alcare for his first time up. Evans so far Hasn't gotten a lot of action for the Mountaineers, now coming back into the lineup. 17 at-bats so far this year. Came in as a pinch runner earlier for Jonathan Schwereb last game, and now comes into his spot in the lineup. That first pitch, ball one by John Alkier.
Charlie Evans was someone that we saw go up against the Texas State pitcher at the time, of just battling back and forth, trying to get something going. Eventually it led in a strikeout. However, it was a situation where we had another Mountaineer on base.
1-0 count. That's in there for strike number one. Count now even 1-1. Runners on second and first. John Kramer on second. Tanner McCammon on first. And Kramer trying to blow this open for the Mountaineers again. One out in the bottom of the fifth. John Alkier facing Charlie Evans, the righty. Playing center field today. That one is low for ball number two, and catcher Theo Coomer thought about throwing it to second there, and Kramer just can't catch a break no matter where he is.
Absolutely. They're making sure that Kramer does not go anywhere. They were trying to keep him off that second base bag, but now they're really trying to keep him from being on third.
Kramer only has one stolen base this year. However, keeping a close eye on him as Alkier, 2-1 count, and Alkier throws back towards second to try and get Kramer. You don't see that often by a pitcher, but Kramer once again has to dive back for, is that the fifth time he's been attempted to be picked off no matter where he is?
I believe so. And Cole Tabor there, the second baseman in coverage on that throw, had to kind of make an acrobatic catch there to prevent the ball from sliding out into the outfield.
2-1. That one's hit hard towards second base, and there's going to be an attempt for a double play there, and they get it as Cole Tabor able to make the throw towards Ryan Farber to get Tanner McCammon out, and then Farber a nice little throw there to Austin Eaton to get the Texas Bobcats out of the inning, and we will go away with them as the Mountaineers unable to get anyone to score. Still 7-2 off of 7 hits for the Mountaineers, 2 hits for the Texas State Bobcats. And when we return, Grace Ellen Callihan will continue the play-by-play here on 90.5 WASU YouTube.
And welcome back to App State Baseball here on 90.5 WASU YouTube, where Everett Harris going into his 6th inning pitching at this point and his season high to this point.
Yeah, has already pitched 5 today, Grace Ellen, and his last time he pitched this much was, if I can find the stat, he pitched 4 innings against UMass Lowell earlier in the year on February 23rd, then pitched 4 1/3 against Gardner-Webb. Now going for his 6th inning pitched right now, Grace Ellen. We saw a conversation with Kermit Smith, but he didn't take him out. Everett Harris, I think he told Kermit Smith, keep me in. I got this, and so far he showed it.
He's definitely trying to make a point here in this Mountaineer pitching staff, and he is doing so. Only 2 runs given up today with 3 hits as Theo Coomer, the catcher, comes up to the plate for Texas State. And that's going to be driven right down to center field, and it's going to be a diving catch by Evans, but unable to hold on to it as it's going to be a base hit for Mora.
Yeah, and Chase Mora, a nice hit there to center field. Charlie Evans almost made the grab. However, it just fell out of his glove, I think. If we had 2 diving plays in one game, that might be a little too much. Tyler Figueroa already got one today for the Mountaineers. And
yeah, Evans there just letting us know he's like, all right, I'll give you a ball game. I won't take it away from him on the first pitch. But now up to the plate, we have Chase Mora. My bad. My apologies. Yes, it is Chase.
No,
Chase.
It's Caden Baker. The scoreboard's a little off and delayed right now, but we're all good.
Here we go. So that first pitch, a little too high, so it's first ball. And that's going to be tipped off into left field as Figueroa is going to chase it all the way to the wall, and it's going to go into the App State bullpen.
Yeah, a little out of play there for Figueroa. And he was sprinting towards that one right there. And he was fast at Siena, and he's showing it today. He's still fast for the Mountaineers. He was playing at third before a few games ago, before Wake Forest, and now they put him in left field. It's an interesting move by Kermit Smith. But you talked about that positionless baseball, Grace Ellen.
Absolutely, and it's something that Kermit Smith really wanted to highlight this year and actually draw an inspiration as we see Everett Harris check down to first for Cameron Miller, and he's not going to get the runner. However, draw an inspiration from Dustin Kearns in basketball, where we've seen an evolving sport to where we see big guys in the middle, like our own C.J. Huntley, able to hit threes from anywhere. Something that we haven't seen traditionally, as Harris draws another strike up against Baker at the count 1-2. But definitely interesting to see Kermit Smith just drawing that much inspiration from the game of basketball and involving it into his offensive lineup as Everett Harris, my apologies, gets his third strikeout on the day against Caden Baker.
Well, you know, in that conversation with Kermit Smith was probably telling him, hey, if you're tired, we got some guys in the bullpen ready to go. So far, Everett Harris standing his ground on the mound and able to keep these bats quiet for the most part for Texas State.
Absolutely, and Kermit Smith is trusting him, and he's proving it. As since that mound visit, he's had more strikeouts than he did before it. That's going to be a high ball on the first pitch here to Ryan Farber.
He's had quite the day today. He's had quite a few hard balls hit to him, and now still looking for his first hit of the game, just looking to get on base.
There we go, and it's going to be a foul ball again, just past outside the App State bullpen, wide to the left there, but showing some action from the bats here as we finally seen some deep hits by the Bobcats.
And Ryan Farber does have a home run so far in the year, Grace Ellen, but his big thing is he has 3 doubles already this year.
Could be a situation to put Chase Mora into some serious scoring position as he lines a drive into the right field, and it's going to be Moquin trying to make a play as Texas State runner Chase Mora is going to make it all the way to third as that ball went deep into right field, and Mountaineers just happy to get the ball back to the infield.
Well, and I do want to say props to Dylan Moquin there. That was a hard hit ball there by Ryan Farber, and I mentioned his doubles, and of course that really could have been a double if it wasn't for Dylan Moquin making a great play there to his cutoff man Joseph Zamora and keeping Ryan Farber at first base to put runners at the corners, Grace Ellen.
Absolutely, and as the home plate umpire actually asked for a new set of baseballs, as handling the ball today has not been a given with this on and off rain that we've been having all day and the slick turf. We've seen Texas State outfielders struggle with handling the ball deep, as App State profited a lot in the first inning by targeting that right field position. As one time it bounced off the back wall, as we're going to get our first pitch against Alan Shibley. It's going to be outside. We've got a runner on first and third. Chase Mora, the runner, on third in scoring position.
And I wouldn't be surprised if Farber tried to steal here. He's already tried it 6 times this year, Grace Ellen. Has been caught 3, but 3 times has been successful, and I wouldn't be surprised if he tried to get into scoring position here.
Definitely a promising situation to do it, as it's hard for the catcher to check down to second. With a runner on third, you could potentially give away the run to home, as now we've got a time. A little timeout as Kermit Smith is going to walk up to the mound.
And he points at the bullpen there. This might be it for Everett Harris, Grace Ellen.
And what a game did he have. Something we haven't really seen out of him this season. And what a great 6 and a third innings that he had here. As we're going to have a new pitcher come out for the Mountaineers, and we'll have more on him. When we return here, you're listening to App State Baseball on 90.5 WASU YouTube. Welcome back to Mountaineer Baseball here on 90.5 WASU YouTube, where we're in the top of the 6th, and it is 7-2 App State, and we are just now seeing a Mountaineer pitching change as Cal Clark has taken the mound for the Mountaineers in between the batting of Alan Shibley, who had 1 ball on the count on 1 out so far in the inning. We've got a runner on first, and Chase Mora for the Bobcats in scoring position on third base. Now with the first pitch, it's going to be right down the middle for a strike, evening the count. Great start, but Jordan, what can we expect from Cal Clark?
Oh, he's one of the best relievers in the Mountaineer bullpen right now. Grace Ellen already has, to his name, 5 strikeouts as a reliever, and he's gotten out of a lot of tough situations.
And that's going to be driven right past Cam Miller into the right field. And we've already got 1 Bobcat to score as the ball is coming back in from right field. And they're just trying to get it to the plate. And it's almost going to clear the bases as Braxton Church fumbles the ball at the plate. And we're going to have a time on the field so the batter can adjust. But oh my goodness, that was some quick action there that we saw from Texas State as they had 2-run score. It is 7-4 now, the bottom of the 6th.
Ryan Farber had to run all the way from first on that hard hit ball towards right field, Grace Ellen, and I sort of announcer jinxed Cal Clark there. just a little bit, as a hard hit ball there by Alan Shibley, who now gets into scoring position, and we got a ball game right now, Grace Ellen. It's only a 3-run game now, 7-4.
Absolutely. Since App State took a lead 6-0 at the bottom of the first, and Cal Clark now sends off a strike after giving off that double hit, 2 RBI. It's going to be Austin Eaton up to bat for the Bobcats, but as I was saying, after a 6-0 start by Appalachian State, Texas State has been slowly creeping in with 2 runs in the 5th, but Ian's going to send this into left field, and Figueroa's just chasing it down. There's going to be another run score for Texas State, as that's another run. Not a ton of success by Cal Clark, as Ian makes it to second base. Another double RBI score.
And another RBI there. And now, Grace Ellen, it's looking fishy here for the Mountaineers. You know, you were up 7-1 at one point. And now, however, you have to look careful as I said, we've got a ball game on our hands now, and just some really well-positioned hits for Texas State right now, and Cal Clark's just unfortunately been the pitcher in that situation for that. I don't know if it's really him or if it's as much just Texas State finally getting the bats moving right now.
Absolutely. It looks like we've got a pinch hitter in here for Texas State, as it's Dawson Park up, and he's going to foul this ball up, but he is hitting for Cole Tabor right now, as the count is 0-1 with 1 strike and 1 out, with a runner in scoring position on second, Austin Eaton. So Cal Clark here trying to regain his composure, as Kermit Smith still trusting him. No mound visits. That's another foul ball off, as Clark's ahead in the count, but as we've seen from Texas State's coach, head coach Trout, not related to Mike Trout, often made quick changes when it came to any errors that might have been associated with the pitcher on the mound, not wanting App State to get too much momentum. So it's 2 strikes, 1 out, the runner on second. Oh, and that ball goes way behind the mound, as it didn't even cross the plate and went to the other side of the hitter at the time.
Yeah, and Austin Eaton there able to get on third from a wild pitch, Grace Ellen, and now Eaton at third in prime position to score here off of a sacrifice fly by Dawson Park, who is probably the reason why they put him in as a pinch hitter.
Absolutely. The freshman now trying to show what he can do for this Bobcat team when they need a run. And it's just going to be a bouncy ball down right to the pitcher, and Clark's going to choose to throw it to first and get the out to make it 2 outs. However, Austin Eaton's going to score home.
Well, I think that was the right play there, Grace Ellen. You saw Austin Eaton already had the lead there at third, and it was probably going to be a tough play for Braxton Church to make. You still have the lead by 1. However, it looks like he was double guessing himself, as he had to almost took him quite a bit to throw to Cam Miller at first.
Absolutely. You saw the second guess, which made the throw a little closer than you would have liked to first. However, now Samson Pugh up to hit for the Bobcats. And that first pitch is going to be a strike for Pugh. But this once all App State action offense game is now going to be driven right down to center field, and Pugh's going to get a nice base hit, as Charlie Evans just couldn't quite get there and wanted to play it safe, keep the ball in front of him and play it off the bounce and not go for the fly out.
I think that's one of the big reasons that Cal Clark just let Austin Eaton go. You were trying to get the force out possibly at first if you got the out at first, which you did to Cam Miller, but now you have a player at first, and we'll have a mound visit and a new pitcher for Appalachian State, as Cal Clark on a very short leash in that situation there.
Absolutely. Cal Clark, well, still a promising reliever for the Mountaineers. We're going to get a pitch and change here with a short debut today from Clark. So we'll have more on this new App State pitcher when we get back. It's the top of the 6th, and it's 7-6 App State. That lead is dwindling, so don't go anywhere. You're listening to App State Baseball on 90.5 WASU YouTube. And welcome back as we're still trying to get underway here in the bottom of the sixth. This is the second pitch and change that we have seen for the Mountaineers as Luke Oblin, the freshman, has come up to the mound, and he's going to be a little inside there on the right-handed pitcher, or not, my bad, right-handed batter, Justin Bosas. As it's going to be a 1-0 start with 2 outs. He's got a runner on first for Texas State. That one's going to be a little low for ball 2 on the count.
Yeah, and so far, all year, Grace Ellen, I've seen the Mountaineers have really good starting pitchers, and then sometimes in the bullpen it gets a little finicky and makes you stressed out.
As we're starting to see App State dive into their bullpen, as Texas State dove into theirs very early on, as Texas State is on their 4th pitcher, and it wasn't until around the 5th inning that they decided to settle on a pitcher. As there are 3 balls until he finally gets one down the middle for the first strike, 3-1.
And that was a nice recovery there by Luke Oblin. He's only pitched 1 inning so far this year, Grace Ellen. The freshman out of Chicago, Illinois.
Get this pitch and a swing and a miss. Bosas was trying to hit that one out of the park, but did not make contact.
Yeah, he wanted that one. Unfortunately, no contact there. He's trying to keep this rally going, and Luke Oblin just trying to get out of the inning for the Mountaineers like he did against Charlotte.
As we've got a runner take off to second, but he's going to walk the batter, so he would have made it to second anyways. It's Cole Tabor on first with Samson Pugh on second. Or my bad, not Cole Tabor, Justin Bosas. Or hold up.
No,
Samson
right.
Pugh's on second, Justin Bosas is on
There you
first.
go.
There we go, everybody. Cleared off any miscommunication as Theo Coomer is coming up to the plate for the Bobcats.
So far today has made contact in both of his at-bats, Grace Ellen. Got a single earlier.
With that pitch in, and it's going to be high and inside for ball 1. But yes, making contact, however, in the 3rd, grounded out. So, interesting to see where he'll end up at this bat. Now the strike right down the middle there for strike 1. So 1-1 count, 2 outs with a runner in scoring position.
Yeah, this is a very similar situation to what Luke Oblin was in that game against Charlotte. Had runners in scoring position, able to get out of it that time.
And that one just skimming the inside of Coomer's jersey right there. Didn't hit him, but very close, bringing the count to 2-1. Pugh bouncing around at second. However, going to pitch it. Oh, ball gets just past Lichtenberger at shortstop as Texas State's going to round it and try and bring it home. However, the throw's going to be late, and Texas State is going to tie this ball game. Holy smokes. 7-7 with a 5-run stunner here at the top of the 6th.
Yeah, and unfortunately that time Figueroa couldn't make the play in that situation to Braxton Church. He had to go to his cutoff man, Tanner McCammon, and by that time, Bosas able to score, or excuse me, who scored?
That would have been Samson Pugh.
Samson Pugh.
That made
excuse
it
me.
home. No worries, Jordan.
We all make mistakes, see?
Everybody makes mistakes, and now
And it's hard in these long innings.
absolutely, because Texas State just went through their whole lineup, and they're now at the top of their lineup again with Chase Mora, who already made it home this inning. As this ball is going to get behind Braxton Church, and Texas State thinks about stealing home. However, both runners will advance into scoring position with runners on second and third.
Yeah, Bosas thought about it, thought better of it as he trying to keep this rally going. Didn't want to risk any outs as you have both runners in scoring position. Theo Coomer now at second, and Kermit Smith once again coming up to the mound towards Luke Oblin.
As you were saying, Jordan, App State struggling in the bullpen while showing promise at the start with their starting pitchers after Everett Harris went 5 1/3 innings. Or my bad, 6 1/3, I believe. Pitching his
5
most.
1/3. You had
5
it.
1/3.
You had it.
5 1/3. Pitching his most that he's pitched all season. And now, since then, App State struggling with both Cal Clark and now Luke Oberlin, who's on the mound right now.
And it's just an unfortunate situation. Both of these pitchers, Grace Ellen, have looked great all year, and now, unfortunately, just the subject of a continued berating and harassment by these Texas State bats. And what looked like a surefire win to sweep the series is now turned into a tied ball game for these teams.
Absolutely, and we haven't even made it to the 7th inning stretch yet here at Jim and Betty Stadium.
He's gonna keep Luke Oberlin in. He's putting his faith in his bullpen pitchers right now, Grace Ellen, but we've seen a trend of bullpen pitchers for the Mountaineers struggling after that 5th inning around there.
All right.
It's led to some losses.
Absolutely, 1-0 count. The second pitch, it almost takes his head off.
Yeah, that was a close run right there. You never want to see a pitch like that, and some nerves getting to Luke Oberlin right now, the freshman out of Chicago, Illinois, who looked great in his debut against Charlotte, but right now struggling.
Down early, and just increases that as he's now down with 3 balls and 2 outs. If this batter walks, Chase Mora, the bases will be loaded. And as Texas State has just tied, we're going to get another mound visit, as I wouldn't be surprised if maybe a potential bullpen pitcher came out here.
Yeah, we'll have to see. He hasn't looked towards the bullpen yet, but the third base umpire is making his way out, and it looks like there will be another change, Grace Ellen. You were right.
And as we're going to see this new pitcher come up to the mound, don't go anywhere because it is tied here. You're listening to App State Baseball on 90.5 WASU YouTube. And we're back here with some App State baseball action as we're concluding the series against Texas State up here on the mountain. And just now we've had yet another pitching change, and we've got Connor Berezino, the freshman, up out of Cornelius, North Carolina, who's looking to get App State out of a pinch as Texas State has scored 5 at the top of the 6th, and it is now tied after App State had a comfortable lead for the majority of the game. And it is completely gone at this point as Chase Moore is up to bat, 3-0 ahead in the count. And Berezino's going to get a strike.
And a nice start there for Berezino, the kid out of Cornelius, North Carolina. Another freshman pitcher and just shows you these young pitchers for App State. Coach Kermit Smith putting his trust.
And just like that, it's going to be ball 4 and the bases are loaded.
Yeah, a little high there on the ball. I don't quite know. The umpires have been having a tight strike zone this whole game, as they usually have had. But now you have bases loaded and you put Berezino in a tough situation here, Grace Ellen.
It is interesting to see Kermit Smith going with back-to-back young pitchers.
Well, it's like Texas State. You know, you run out of pitchers eventually, and you have to go deep in your bullpen. And you have pitchers who you thought wouldn't be pitching in this series, and maybe you'd save them for Tuesday against Charlotte. Now pitching a few innings, and it's just a snowball effect.
As we've got the first pitch, as Caden Baker is now up to the plate for Texas State, as he gets ahead in the count with ball 1.
Because unfortunately, you used up Bradley Wilson yesterday, and you're probably going to want to save him for Tuesday in the bullpen, so you wouldn't see him out today. And so all you have left is your freshman talent.
And, well, freshman talent showing true right now is just got a strike to even the count here early on. There's 2 outs, bases loaded. Not much room for error. However, sacrifice fly is is not an option, as it's grounded to shortstop, and Lichtenberger is just going to take that and tag out at second. And Mountaineers just going to be thankful to get out of the inning, as it is 7-7 as we're going to the bottom of the 6th and see if App State can get anything going on the bats. But you're listening to App State Baseball on 90.5 WASU YouTube. And we are back here for App State Baseball, as it looked like App State was going to run away with it, but no more. It is 7-7 at the bottom of the 6th after a 5-run inning for Texas State. Is now Tyler Lichtenberger, the man who made the play to end the inning, is up to the plate, and it's going to be ball 1.
And so far, Lichtenberger's sort of been the story for these Mountaineer bats, Grace Ellen. He got a single in the first and so far has been quiet.
Now we're going to get another ball, but as you were saying, had a fly out in the 3rd, but was able to send in an RBI, so not completely useless, as it's 2-0 in the count. It's going to be 3-0, way ahead now. So looking promising that you can maybe get on base for the first time since the first inning.
And with John Alkier in at pitcher, Grace Ellen, this has been the longest pitcher we've seen out of Texas State so far today. And so far, he's been proven to keep these Mountaineer bats quiet.
And while Lichtenberger does not get a hit, he will be walked to first as Dylan Moquin comes up to bat for the Mountaineers.
Yeah, and he's had an interesting day today. He's been hit by pitch twice, had a single, gotten on base in all 3 of his appearances, looking for another one. Hopefully not by a hit by pitch. You never want to see that. Now Coach Stephen Trout looks like is going to have a conversation here with John Alkier. Would not be surprised, Grace Ellen, if they reach into the bullpen in this situation, and it looks like they will.
Does look like it. At this point, Texas State with such revival here in the 6th inning that they're pulling out all the stops to at least get a win, as we have started Sun Belt Conference play this weekend. And the conference games matter more than ever. So you're going to want to stick around as it's tied 7-7. Texas State's got a pitching change, but we'll be back right after the short break. And we're back up here on the mountain playing some App State Mountaineer baseball here on 90.5 WASU YouTube, as we just had a pitching change for Texas State. They've reached down into their 5th pitcher of the day, and they're going with Braylon Timmons. And Jordan, what should we be expecting out of Timmons today?
Well, he's only pitched 2 innings total. He pitched 1 full inning against Binghamton on February 16th, but ever since then has only been there for 1-out situations. As Dylan Moquin, did he get hit again?
Man, back-to-back times at bat where he gets hit by the pitch. And we talked about earlier how App State's top 50 in the nation with hit by pitch.
They're going to be up on it now thanks to Dylan Moquin.
Absolutely. So you can be sure to check that out on NCAA baseball statistics there. But now we've got Moquin on first and Tyler Lichtenberger on second, so a runner in scoring position for the Mountaineers as Joseph Zamora walks up to the plate after his walk-off hit yesterday to beat Texas State in the 11th inning.
Oh, he might get to 11 innings again.
Only time will tell, so you'll be sure to stay tuned, and we've got a...
Oh, yeah, I was about to say. It's a balk.
Looks like it was going to be a balk, yeah.
That was such an obvious balk, and I was waiting on the call. You could hear the Mountaineer bench screaming for a balk there, and Braylon Timmons Making a little bit of a mistake there. Unusual from a senior pitcher.
Absolutely. And his catcher, Theo Coomer, and looks like Ryan Farber are going to come and talk to him. Just sort of calm him down as he just came up to the mound. And the home plate umpire is going to walk up to break up the little timeout.
Yeah, they always do it. You want to use as much time as possible. And before Zamora even gets up to bat, we have some drama coming in.
So we've got now Dylan Moquin on third. And Lichtenberger's on third. And Dylan Moquin on second. Now both runners in scoring position. As we wait for the pitch, and we've got a time. This is the first place umpire is talking.
And now it looks like we're going to have a conversation here. It's not Steven Trout coming out this time. But looks like, it looks like he's going to get a new baseball as the wet ball's still coming into play here despite no rain right now. So looks like one of the trainers came out there for Texas State, Grace Ellen.
Yeah, that's some confusion there. However, looks like we even might have had some malfunctioning gear potentially too, as he swapped out a piece of equipment. However, now we're back to play with this. Actually, the first pitch for Joseph Zamora after all that
he's
action.
Been out there for a minute.
He has not taken a pitch yet, and it's going to be a ball one for the count. Here comes the second pitch. Zamora thinks about it, but waits. It's going to be ball two.
And a great job there by Joseph Zamora to hesitate on that pitch. Gets him ahead in the count 2-0.
It is 7-7 here after Texas State had a electric sixth inning not too long ago. And we're going to get the first strike on this count. It's going to be 2-1. Joseph Zamora. He's going to watch this one as it goes way inside. And Zamora feeling very comfortable as he's ahead in the count 3-1.
Yeah, and it almost hit him there for a second hit batter. That would have been the fifth of the day for Texas State.
And with the next pitch away, he's going to splice in between center field and left field. And Pugh's going to field it. And we're going to have both Mountaineers score home as Joseph Zamora again with an important RBI there to give App State another lead, and two runners scoring home. It's going to be 9-7 now for the Mountaineers.
And a nice job there. That's why Joseph Zamora is in the lineup at second. Such a clutch hitter for the Mountaineers. This time getting a 2 RBI single to give the Mountaineers the lead again, Grace Ellen, 9-7.
Such important clutch hits that he's just pulled through for the Mountaineers after, as I was saying, that walk-off hit yesterday in the 11th, and then showing no fear as he was ahead in the count and split the center field and right field. And we're going to have another time as your very own, or not yours, but Steven Trout, not related to Mike Trout, the head coach for Texas State, is going to talk with Braylon Timmons.
And they're going to bring out another pitcher.
And man, right when you kind of thought that maybe there was nobody else left in either of these bullpens after this long series where we have seen both bullpens dive deep and you've seen Mountaineers tossing between freshmen, we've got a new pitcher coming up for the Bobcats, and we'll have more for you as it is 9-7. App State just retook the lead on 90.5 WASU YouTube. And welcome back to Mountaineer Baseball here on the mountain. It is 9-7 as the Mountaineers just retook a lead after a electric top of the sixth for Texas State as they finally showed some signs of light on the offensive side with 5 runs to tie the game, but that didn't last long when Joseph Zamora had a single 2 RBI that put the Mountaineers back up ahead. But now we've had a pitching change for Texas State, and Cameron O'Bannon is in. And Jordan, what can we expect from O'Bannon here at the bottom of the second, or sixth?
Another one of those pitchers, Grace Ellen, who has only pitched 3 innings for the Texas State Bobcats, and so far has had a pretty good time. 4 strikeouts, 4 walks, 2 hits, and 1 earned run only against him. So you can expect O'Bannon. He has that fastball down the middle, maybe a couple breaking balls to try and take Cameron Miller off guard. But once again, Grace Ellen, him and Braylon Timmons, 2 pitchers who have not seen a lot of action for Texas State, but have to today as both teams having to go deep into their talent in the bullpen.
Absolutely, and something that as a head coach you normally want to save your bullpen. However, definitely a guy that knows how to hit it. Up here now for the Mountaineers, Cam Miller, who last time he was at bat in the 4th, struck out. Just watching it, however, just like that pitch. The strike, just watching it.
And those are the kind of fastballs I was talking about, Grace Ellen. You see, just caught Cam Miller looking. You don't see that often from the sophomore.
Young Mountaineer that's shown some clear success out of his freshman season and only continued it onto this season as he hits this ball foul out before the third base.
And that just shows Kermit Smith's dedication to developing these players here at App State. You see a lot of transfers in, however, App State, not a lot of transfers out, and that just shows you what Kermit Smith has been able to build here for the Mountaineers.
Such successful winning seasons here for App State baseball. As we've got the third pitch now, and that one's going to be high for ball 1. So you've got to count now 1-2 with Joseph Zamora sitting on first. Yes. O'Bannon checks first and waits all the way to the end of that pitcher clock, and that ball hits the ground there, and Coomer's going to check first and make sure Zamora doesn't go, and he stays before he gets it back to the pitcher. This is going to be 2-2 for the count as Cam Miller hanging in there in the batter's box, and he's going to tip this one away. Just bouncing off and hitting the netting behind home plate.
What a way there by Cam Miller to stay alive, Grace Ellen. And so far, he's been one of those Mountaineer batters who's really gotten pitch counts up for a lot of pitchers coming into relief here. And he's been in this situation before.
Something App State was able to do successfully yesterday as he checks down to first, and we're going to have a safe call. And you're even seeing a reaction on O'Bannon's face as he thought he got Zamora at first there.
That was the closest pickoff we've seen all day. I think I agree with the call. Joseph Zamora looked like he was able to slide in there just in time. It looks like there's going to be no argument from the Texas State side of the bench.
We haven't really seen that happen since Kramer was on there, I think around in the 3rd inning, when the Texas State pitcher at the time just checked probably 5 times on Kramer the time that he was on base, and that pitch is going to be outside, and we're going to have a full count now with no outs here in the bottom of the 6th. App State's already got 2 runs down in this inning. Cam Miller looking to push it some more with Zamora on first. And they're going to check again for Zamora. Common theme with these Texas State pitchers. Once they check once, they always check twice.
Well, and it's interesting because a lot of the players they're going after don't have a lot of stolen bases. Joseph Zamora has 1 on the year, but that was off of a wild pitch.
With this pitch, it's going to be low, and Cam Miller's going to walk on to base after striking out in the 4th. He's going to see some action for the first time since the 2nd. It's actually his second time walk today. However, now we're going to have Braxton Church up in the lineup with a man in scoring position, Joseph Zamora, Cam Miller on first. Braxton Church looking to see if he can send anybody home and add to this lead as it's 9-7 for the Mountaineers. And last time he was up to bat, he was hit by a pitch as well as, I think, Joseph Zamora. Was it Joseph Zamora that was hit? There's been one App State player that's been hit twice.
6 times. Dylan Moquin's been hit 3 times.
I believe it was Dylan Moquin, yep. Oh, and we're going to have a bunt, and it's thought it would stay fair, but it rolled foul. Church looking just to try to advance the bases there. If it stayed fair, it looked like everyone would have made it and advanced bases to load the bases. However, they do not.
Yeah, that was a really well-positioned bunt there by Braxton Church. Unfortunately, did not go anywhere after that first bounce and just went out of play. And the home plate umpire made the call. If it's before the third base bag, it's the home plate umpire's call. And in this situation, he made the call quickly. But I agree with the area of trying to advance the runners here when you have no outs.
Just kind of relying on the speed there of your players to make it forward. However, and he gets, so you can hear as Braxton Church gets hit, he looks like it hit him in the thigh, and he even yelled a little bit and showed his pain there as that'll advance all runners and bases will load.
And it's an interesting situation where how many hit-by-pitch batters are we going to see in these situations where a lot of our left-handed batters, Grace Ellen, just seem to get the brunt of it? I mean, I remember when I played baseball, it was like that, but not to this extent. As we saw with Texas State, 4 hit batters in that game with Valentine starting, and now in this game, I believe we're up to 7.
It is something where when you talk about left-handed batters coming up to the plate, and you know that right-handed pitchers will struggle anyways against left-hand batters, but you just normally you don't expect it to be this much, especially against a Texas State pitching staff that's shown success against teams in the past.
We're up to 5 actually right now. I thought it was way more. But I believe I was counting the Texas State batters who are also hit by pitch, but App State up to 5 today.
Braxton Church right now kind of motioning towards the bench. He was just checked out by App State's medical team there. It looks like he's A-okay to run as we don't have any pinch runners coming in, so he is okay after the pitch, after being checked out by, like I said, App State medical staff. And we even have a little meeting here at the mound that the home plate umpire is going to go break up as Coach Stephen Trout has walked out to the mound to talk with his pitcher, Cameron O'Bannon.
Yeah, in that situation, I expect nothing less from the catcher, honestly. If there was one guy who didn't need a pinch runner, it's probably the catcher. And Braxton sure shown some toughness there for App State staying on first there.
And as this meeting disperses, O'Bannon's going to stay on. However, if we look over in the Texas State bullpen, they've got 2 pitchers warming up, so definitely ready to make any changes if needed here in this game as John Kramer comes up to the plate. Last time he was up, he's made it on base, and he's made it around once all the way, but he's never hit it to make it on. He's got 2 walks and a strikeout, but was walked in the 5th inning was the last time he was up. As this first pitch is a ball to start off the count.
And with those 5 hit batters, Grace Sullen, that would put us up to 15th in the NCAA in terms of hit by pitch.
And that pitch is going to be outside, but Kramer's going to swing at it anyways. But, man, what a way to move up in the rankings there and hit by pitch for App State there. Top 20, but at the beginning of the day, they were top 50. As we get the 3rd pitch, and that's going to be high for ball 2. It's going to be a 2-1 count now here. The bottom of the 6th. Mountaineers loaded bases as they're looking to keep building onto their lead. But not before O'Bannon's going to get his 2nd strike in with a 2-2 count while the bases are loaded. So a lot of pressure on O'Bannon right now to almost performed perfectly, as any base hit proves to be difficult for the infield and outfield, but he's going to come through there, and he's going to strike out Kramer, and it's the second time he'll be striked out today as he walks back, and we're going to have Tyler Figueroa come up for the Mountaineers.
Yeah, and John Kramer, Grace Ellen, going through a little bit of a cold spell here. Usually really reliable in the batter's box for the Mountaineers, but today has walked twice, but usually is one of your guys like Braxton Church you can rely on to get a double.
And we're going to get a hit now off of the first pitch, and right fielder's going to try and chase it all the way out. The ball's going to go foul, out of bounds, or out of play, I should say.
There you go. I know it's hard. You switch from volleyball, basketball, and then in baseball it's called out of play. It's a completely different vocabulary when you're playing baseball.
Absolutely, but that was Alan Shibley in right field who chased the ball all the way down, and now we've got some aspiring young Mountaineer fans who want to play out here one day, maybe chasing the ball down for App State baseball. Now we're going to have our second pitch. It's going to be high to even the count, 1-1. Bases are still loaded. If that ball had been fair, you'd have to think that at least 2 runners would have found a way to score home, and there's only 1 out so far in the inning. Figueroa thinks about it. Coomer decides to check with the first base umpire and on that check swing and says no strike and going to count the ball. 2-1 as Figueroa is ahead in the count. With the pitch, it's going to be in the floor, or my bad, in the turf. As Coomer keeps it in front of him and poured in with runners in scoring position.
And with only 1 out, Grace Ellen, you have to think that Figueroa, even a walk here with bases loaded, gives the Mountaineers a run to give them back a 3-run lead cushion.
With the pitch, Figueroa's going to stay alive and hit this one into the netting behind home plate for foul.
And it looked like that one was a little high. Figueroa swung on it, and he got a piece of it, but that's the reason it went out of play, and I don't know if you really want to swing on that to make the count full.
The pitch is going to be high inside, and, well, Joseph Zamora is going to walk home. And the Mountaineers are going to get another run for this inning and extend the lead to 10-7. So, showing to be an explosive 6th inning, as App State scored 3 and Texas State has scored 5. So we've seen a lot of action here, as the bases are still loaded with that walk. As now Tanner McCammon comes up to bat. Last time he was up, he hit a single. Now looking to send some more Mountaineers home with only 1 out so far in the inning.
And it looks like Stephen Trout going to have another conversation with O'Bannon. There is action in the bullpen, Grace Ellen, and yes, we will get another pitching change in this inning. So both teams just going really deep into their bullpen.
Absolutely. At this point, for App State, we saw Everett Harris pitch 5 1/3 innings, and then since then, App State's gone through 3 pitchers, but we've seen Texas State switch through. What is this? This will be their 7th pitcher on the day. So stay tuned as we'll see who's coming up to the mound next for the Bobcats, and it is 10-7 App State, and you're listening to App State Baseball on 90.5 WASU YouTube. Welcome back to App State Baseball here on 90.5 WASU YouTube. And we've had a pitching change for Texas State in the bottom of the sixth with John Kramer up to bat, but in for the pitching changes, Connor Doucette?
Yes, you got it. There you go.
Connor
And it's Tanner McCammon up to bat, but you're all good.
Tanner McCammon. Hey, you know what?
You
win some, you lose some. I mean, you can't win them all. So we've got the bases loaded here for App State as Tanner McCammon sees the first pitch and chooses not to swing at the ball. Starting out the count 1-0 with one out here in the bottom of the sixth.
And Connor Doucette pitched a little longer than the two previous pitchers before him in Timmons and O'Bannon, but once again, only pitched 1 2/3 innings so far this season.
And we've got a hit off foul. Doesn't make it past the third base. However, all App State runners were ready to go as it's 1-1 the count.
Yeah, and Doucette just put in a tough situation here. Had 2 strikeouts, though, when he pitched his one game. And 0 earned runs so far.
And this is going to be sent into left field, but yet another foul ball, except for that one made it way past third base and past the App State bullpen. Out of play.
Yeah, the Mountaineers making contact, and it's getting scary for Texas State because you know these batters, it's not a matter of if, but when they make the hard contact and someone gets a home run.
With the pitch. McCammon thinks about it. And that check swing is going to be called a strike, and he will strike out for the second out of the bottom of the sixth. And we'll have a new App State batter come up to bat, Charlie Evans.
Yeah, and Tanner McCammon, he thought about swinging. He would have made contact if he did, however, just second-guessed himself in that situation, Grace Ellen, and that's what struck him out. The second-guessing always comes to get you.
Charlie Evans up to the plate, and that first pitch is going to be inside on the ball. A 10-7 ball game here with 2 outs at the bottom of the sixth. As the bases are loaded, and Evans is going to drive that deep into his own position in center field, but it is right to Sam Pugh. And Samson Pugh, my apologies. And that's going to retire the 6th inning for you here on 90.5 WASU YouTube. And it is 10-7 App State. So don't go anywhere. We're coming to the top of the 7th when we return. And we're back for some App State baseball here as we're at the top of the 7th after an explosive 6th inning. We finally got out of it as Texas State scored 5 and App State scored 3. Texas State originally tied the game, but App State regained a 3-run lead at 10-7. But I've got an extra guest in the booth now. Bobby Phillips is joining me. Bobby, how's it going?
I'm doing pretty good. It's been a pretty good baseball game so far, Grace Ellen. I'm excited to be here in the booth taking Jordan's spot for only part of the game right now, so don't fret to all the Jordan fans out there. He will be back, but I'm filling in for right now, so excited to see what App State can do.
Yeah, so we have Ryan Farber stepping up to the plate for Texas State, and last time he was up to bat, he got a single as he fouls this one back into some fans just past the netting.
And Grace Ellen, going into this inning, one thing App State has to be really cautious of is not letting up more runs in the top of this inning. Obviously, you never want to do that during a baseball game, but you were up by 6 runs. Then they tied it up, but App State was able to respond in the bottom of the 6th with 3, so you want to keep that momentum.
As we get a sharp drive down to Charlie Evans in center field, and he's going to do a great job at tracking that down, as now we've got some sunshine after some off and on rain all day, and looked like that sun was going right into his eyes, so great job making the play there.
And Charlie Evans, after popping it out to center field his last time at bat to close out the 6th inning, does it right there to make the play. Charlie Evans played for the Boone Bigfoots over the summer right here in this stadium, Grace Ellen. Definitely interesting to see him transfer into App State. But he's been pretty solid, a little bit off and on for Mountaineers so far, so expecting some bigger things from him this season.
Alan Shibley now up to the plate for the Bobcats, and last time he was up, had a double and 2 RBIs scored. As we get the first pitch, and it's going to be a strike, carving that outside of the strike zone.
The Mountaineers at the top of that 6th inning just looked very shaky out there. So far from Berezino, he's been very confident out there on the mound. Really glad to see the Mountaineers able to regather themselves.
And with that strike, he follows a ball to even the count at 1-1. 1 out, nobody's on base here. As Texas State, as you're saying, Bobby, looking to see if they can get some momentum going. Even though they clearly had it, but then App State just kind of took some of their own as he tips this one way up, leaning over into third, as our own third baseman McCammon is going to track that one down for another fly out.
And McCammon, a very good fielder out there for the Mountaineers. He made some really great plays against Wake Forest on a game that I was able to call with Jordan earlier in this season, and he's a really great player and able to get those tough foul balls out to the left side. It was a little bit unsure if his position in the lineup would remain consistent earlier on in the season, but he's definitely proved himself for App State.
Absolutely. Not an easy fly ball to catch either.
Nope, not at all.
As he tracked that one down, kind of getting close to the App State bullpen, but now Austin Eaton, the first baseman for Texas State, is up to the plate. That's going to be a strike and catch the outside of the strike zone there.
So far, quite the opposite story of last inning, Grace Ellen, for App State. Before, it just, they were really struggling out there on the mound, but so far putting batters away.
Absolutely, some momentum that App State's definitely been looking for at the pitching mound as Eaton fouls that one out of play. But struggling with the bullpen after such a successful start from Everett Harris. 5 1/3 innings pitched and proved successful with a couple strikeouts there, and until Texas State got a couple runs in and chose to sub them out. And then since then, App State's been through, gosh, this is the 3rd pitcher that we've tried. However, Austin Eaton's going to foul that one out of play there.
And Berezino throwing some heat across the plate so far for this at-bat. I'm expecting coming up next on one of these pitches, an off-speed pitch. You're ahead on the count. You can really have your pick of where you want to place the ball, so expecting a different pitch from Berezino.
With this pitch, it's going to fly out, but the wind has just picked up and up here. However, Joseph Zamora is going to track that one down with a quick 3 batters and 3 outs for App State. And Bobby, I don't know if you'll be how much longer you're hanging around.
I've got to end my career for the game today right there, Grace Ellen. I've had a pretty good half of the inning. I'm expecting them to continue that. We'll see if they decide to make a pitching change down the stretch, but Berezino definitely looks confident on that mound. It's just a question of how long he can keep that up and if App State's able to keep the momentum. But I appreciate you and Jordan for letting me on the broadcast for half an inning, and hi, Mom.
And always happy to have our station manager on at 90.5 WASU. But as the 7th inning stretch gets going, we're going to take a break here, and your Mountaineers will be up to bat next as they're leading 10-7, and we're heading to the bottom of the 7th. App State baseball. Moving on as we're now to the bottom of the 7th. And we now have Tyler Lichtenberger up to the plate, as last time he was up in the 6th, he walked and got on base. However, has seen success hitting today, as he's also got a single under his belt. As that first ball is ball 1 for the count.
Yeah, and Lichtenberger, one of those freshmen for the Mountaineers. It was originally him and Riley Luft, who we haven't seen recently.
So that next pitch is a little inside for ball 2.
And it just shows you that Kermit Smith makes a lot of changes to his lineup. There's not really a consistent lineup you see. We might see Riley Luft later on.
Who knows? But also, as we get that third ball, it's nice to have you back, Jordan.
Yeah, I know. I had a nice little reliever there, and Bobby Phillips to get some breaths in and take in the game.
Just wanted to keep up with the theme with all these reliever pitchers that we've had here today. Jordan needed a reliever color commentator for after that long 6th inning that we had. And as that's just going to be 4 pitches and 4 balls right there, as Lichtenberger will walk again to get on base. As we're going to go back up to the top of the lineup here for Dylan Moquin. And last time he was up, man, he has not had a good run at it today. He's been hit by the pitch 3 out of his 4 times he's been at bat, and he's back-to-back hit by pitch appearances at this point. Last time was just in the 6th when the Mountaineers went on a run to add to their lead. As we're going to get a little conference meeting here at the mound.
Yeah, it looks like Theo Coomer. He's gone up a lot this time to his pitchers, and the umpire's just going to immediately break it up this time, Grace Sullivan. He's like, come on, guys, I want to get home. You gotta stop having these little meetings here.
Absolutely. And
he's even talking to Theo Coomer about it. I think, like, hey, cut the meetings a little bit. Like, come on.
And Theo Coomer's going, hey, that's my bro, okay? We go way back, all right? We spent a lot of pitching days together, and I just sit there, and I catch all of his pitches. So, you know what? If I want to chat with him, I want to chat with him.
That's not exactly what they're saying,
probably not, but, you know, you can dream. All right, so out the first pitches for Dylan Moquin, and you know what?
Why not have
Speak
another
of it,
mound meeting?
we're going to have another one, and maybe that's what the conference was about. I don't know. Head coach Steven Trout's now out on
So
the mound.
is it like the business world where you have to have a conference to discuss the conference maybe, and now,
Yeah,
and
I
now
guess.
you're having the main conference, but then you might have to have another conference after that. I don't know.
I know. You got to think the first conference didn't go well because now the boss is out there. So
you got the CEO coming in.
yeah, and we're taking a look now at the Texas
And-
State bullpen, and we got one pitcher warming up. But man, you got to think how many more pitchers do these teams have? Like,
I mean, you used so many in the first 2 games. You really don't have a lot of guys left, and I think that's the situation Texas State is in, as we will get another pitching change, Grace Ellen, as the third base umpire motions to whoever was warming up in the bullpen, and that'll do it for Connor Doucette.
and
He's
all
only
right,
pitched 2/3 innings.
yeah, there you go. He got you out of the 6th, and then I don't know if they just didn't want to hit Dylan Moquin again. I don't know where the sentiment's coming from.
I wouldn't put a unwarmed up, well, not unwarmed up, but a fresh pitcher in then, because that's going to give you more of a chance to hit Dylan Moquin in that situation.
Well, we'll be crossing our fingers for Dylan Moquin that hopefully he'll find another way to get on base other than just getting hit by the pitch. But we're going to let this next pitcher warm up, and we'll have more for you about this new Texas State pitcher when we return. It is 10-7 App State, and you're listening to App State Baseball on 90.5 WASU YouTube. So as we're warming up here for App State baseball, wrapping up the Texas State series, Matthew Tippy has come on the mound on the pitching change for Texas State. And Jordan, what can we expect out of Tippy here today?
Well, it's interesting, Grace Ellen. Now you were talking about Texas State running out of pitchers, but I really believe they have, because Matthew Tippy pitched 1 2/3 innings yesterday. He had 4 hits against him, but besides the point, you're putting in guys who have already pitched before. You saw that with Bryson Dudley, but he only pitched 1/3 of an inning. Now you have someone who pitched almost 2 full innings coming in as a reliever. It's an interesting move there by Stephen Trout, but you really got to think they have run out of pitchers at this point.
As this is the first series that we have seen in conference play, or as Sun Belt Conference play opened this weekend after a whole bunch of non-conference play opening the season. Just thinking about head coach Stephen Trout, how badly he wants this win, as you said, definitely reusing pitchers who have already pitched in the last 24 hours. Now as we have Dylan Moquin, who will just now take his first pitch at bat. As this one's driven into right field, but it's going to go right to Alan Shibley, and he's going to catch that one with ease.
And Shibley there had to jump up a little bit in that situation, but was able to make the grab. And Dylan Moquin, an unfortunate situation there. Shibley was just right place, right time.
And now for the App State Mountaineers, Joseph Zamora is up to bat. Last time he was up, hit a single. And he's gone 2 for 4 with his batting today after hitting a second, or hitting a double, my apologies, in the first inning. And as our new pitcher, Tippy's going to check for first to make sure Lichtenberger is not going anywhere.
Well, he leads the Mountaineers in steals with 5. Hasn't been caught stealing yet, so I can definitely see this is one of the guys you do want to keep track of.
Absolutely. Texas State pitchers have been checking base runners all day for App State, as Tippy's going to throw a strike there, but Texas State has checked a lot of runners that haven't exactly been successful stealing bases, so they're finally going after someone who has shown success. It's the count 0-1 with 1 out, runner on first. And that pitch is going to be outside to even the count at 1-1.
You see a guy like Matthew Tippy in this situation where it's almost, you're just sort of thrust into the situation. I'm sure he wasn't expecting to pitch today, Grace Ellen, but has to step up for Texas State.
Texas State looking for their first win in conference play, as App State has won the series at this point, and Tippy's going to send down strike 2 down the barrel.
Well, and I see why you don't want to give up. Even if you've lost the series, to start 0-3 in conference play, that's a hard hole to dig out of for Texas State. And for a team that wants to be competitive this year, as they've had multiple ranked wins, it's really tough to see this kind of drop-off in your performance. But it's been some close games.
Absolutely. A notable ranked win, as Matthew Tippy just checked down to first again to make sure Lichtenberger doesn't go anywhere. But they beat Texas A&M a while back, early in mid-February. And a huge part of that was their pitching bullpen that was able to successfully get out of that game. And Valentina, who we saw yesterday, was able to get out with only 4 hits late in that game to conclude it as a reliever. So interesting to see how Texas State has gone through their bullpen and going back through it again. As the count's 2-2, and Lichtenberger's going to choose to go, but Zamora's going to foul this one off at 2 strikes.
Yeah, an unfortunate situation there for Lichtenberger. He was going to make that, no doubt. However, Joseph Zamora just, you have to make contact. You have to stay alive. That would have been a strike, and unfortunately for Lichtenberger, he has to make the trot back to first.
Zamora stepping back into the plate. Lichtenberger takes his lead. As we said, someone to watch. And this time, Tippy is not going to let Lichtenberger get far. He didn't check him that last time, and he made him pay for it.
There's a lot of T names on this pitching squad. You have Timmons, you have Tippy, and then you also have Tier, who pitched yesterday versus App State.
Maybe going with the theme of Texas, and, man, he's going to check him again.
Well, speaking of the theme of Texas, a lot of these players are local talent that Texas State got versus App State with a lot of talent from Florida, Georgia, even some players from the Midwest coming in.
You have Joseph Zamora stepping back up again. Player out of Miami, Florida. So part of that just talent that has come elsewhere out of the state.
Well, it shows a difference in recruiting, Grace Ellen, as Stephen Trout has focused a lot on local recruiting, and it's worked out great for him. Obviously, at Texas State, built a great program there, and then Kermit Smith sort of doing the other way of really attacking that transfer portal and attacking these out-of-state talents, especially from Florida, where you see a lot of talent come in.
As we see that ball hit the ground, Coomer's going to throw and get Lichtenberger out at first because he thought after Zamora tipped that ball, Lichtenberger went and let too far off the bag, and on the way back to return, Coomer got him out at first, with Austin Eaton making the tag.
Yeah, and that was a little bit of a, Lichtenberger experienced in high school, but that might have been a little bit of the freshman nerves coming in for him as he really thought about stealing there. Oh, I can get my 6th steal of the year, and then had to be thrown out there. What a great play, though, by Theo Coomer.
And, man, just like that, 2 outs and 2 pitches. Joseph Zamora is going to strike out here at the bottom of the 7th. So after a high-action 6th inning, we go through the 7th inning scoreless. And Jordan Luker will be following you up after this with play-by-play. And it is 10-7 App State heading into the 8th. You're listening to App State Baseball, 90.5 WASU, YouTube.
We welcome you back to Jim and Betty Smith Stadium on 90.5 WASU's YouTube channel. If you're just joining us, App State up 10-7 against the Texas State Bobcats after being 7-1 at one point, but Texas State able to come back, now down by 3, trying to get back in this game. Pitching change for the Mountaineers, Zach Lewis coming in, and that first one outside for ball number 1 against Dawson Park, the pinch hitter who came in for Cole Tabor.
And just something for that App State reliever pitcher, Zach Lewis. He's normally the Mountaineers closer, so if all things go well, which hasn't been a guarantee for the bullpens on either side today, he will close out this game, hypothetically, for the Mountaineers as we're in the top of the 8th, as he made 23 appearances in relief last season.
Second pitch inside for ball number 2, count 2-0. Top of the 8th inning, no outs still. First batter up, Cole Tabor. That one's in there for strike number 1, count now 2-1 for Zach Lewis, who, as Grace Ellen mentioned, probably going to be the closer for the Mountaineers. Pitched on Friday against Texas State in that blowout win. 1 inning, allowed 1 hit. And then before that, pitched against Charlotte. And that one swung on and missed for strike number 2. And now Zach Lewis evens the count 2-2 against Dawson Park.
It's something that's been a question of what Cole Tabor left, I would say around, I think it was like the 5th inning, where we saw Dawson Park step up to the plate for him. So that ball's outside, but Dawson Park just filling in for Cole Tabor, who may have suffered from maybe a potential ankle roll when he slid into a bag not too long ago. So just a player that has left the game.
And that one swung on by Dawson Park, but it goes out of play. Count remains full at 3-2.
And that one's going to go past us in the booth here, way over the net and almost near the entrance for this App State Stadium.
We've yet to get a ball hit inside this indoor booth here, and I'm a little scared one day it's going to happen. I mean, I've had volleyballs hit towards me. I've had volleyball players fall on me. As that one's hit foul, count remains full, 3-2. So Dawson Park remaining alive here, but not a lot of stuff come my way, but a baseball, not one of them. I've even had a basketball hit right in my face when I was on courtside one time.
And man, you know what, with all that talk, for my baseball commentating debut, I don't think I want a baseball in the face, so we're just gonna, as one gets sent back our way.
It's getting close. I think I'd have to like shield Kelly. I don't know if I could stand it if Kelly the capybara got hit with a foul ball there.
I think Kelly's got like, maybe she's got like a centimeter or two that could potentially get skimmed,
True.
but I think I would drop immediately.
Count still full. That one is low for ball number 4, and Dawson Park will walk after a lengthy pitching there by Zach Lewis against the first batter.
Dawson Park getting on base this time after grounding out last time he was out, but it was a sacrifice out as he sent a run home in the 6th.
So that'll bring up the righty freshman, Samson Pugh. 1 for 3 today, grounded out. Earlier to shortstop, then struck out in the 5th. Got a single in the 6th. That first pitch outside for ball number 1 as Dawson Park remains at first. Taking a big lead out there. Cameron Miller is on the bag, subbing in today for Juan Correa, who after getting hit by pitch 2 times yesterday is being substituted out. 1-0 pitch is high and outside for ball number 2. Count 2-0 now for Samson Pugh, who's looking to get on base for the 2nd time today.
And Zach Lewis high up in the count right now. I'm Kermit Smith right now. I'm really hoping that I don't have to dig further in my bullpen on this one.
2-0 pitch outside for ball number 3. Count now 3-0. And Samson Pugh probably not going to swing here, just looking for a pitch to advance on base. If you're just joining us, App State ahead to the Bobcats 10-3. App State at one time had a 7-1 lead, but that one's in there for strike number 1 by Zach Lewis, a little inside, but he's able to get it. And now the count's 3-1. No outs, runner on first, Dawson Park. Taking a big lead off first, but Zach Lewis so far paying him no attention. Focused on the batter, Samson Pugh. 3-1. And that one high and outside for ball number 4. And Samson Pugh will walk. And that's the 2nd walked batter in a row for Zach Lewis, the closer.
Braxton Church almost shocked by that call, but Samson Pugh was shocked at the call before on the strike as he dodged that pitch as he jumped out of the way and did not want to take the sacrifice hit there.
Well, I agree with the call personally, Grace Ellen. I think the umps have had quite the tight strike zone, and that was right around where they're calling it on the limit of the outside. So Justin Vosas, now coming up, the redshirt sophomore. Runners on first and second. And Dawson Park thought about going, however, thought better of it as there was a heater thrown by Zach Lewis for strike number 1 to Vosas. 0-1 count. Runners on second and first. Dawson Park on first. Samson Pugh on first. That one's sent in there a little low for ball number 1. Count even now, 1-1.
Well, it looked like Lewis got off to an early lead compared to his last count, finishing at 3-1. So definitely think if I'm Lewis right now, trying to stay ahead in this count and just start to see some pitches go over the plate.
That one's sent in there for strike number 2, and it's now 2-1. Zach Lewis ahead in the count against Vosauce. Dawson Park took a big lead on second. However, Zach Lewis has been locked in on the batters so far, trying to get the first out in the top of the 8th inning and keep this Mountaineer lead at 3. Now looks back towards second at Dawson Park, sends in the pitch there. That one's down and just a little low to the umpire's liking, and he calls it a ball. Count now 2-2 even.
We're really starting to hear the App State crowd get into this one right now, whereas I think fans felt a little comfortable with the early lead. At this point, no one feels comfortable with any lead after.
2-2, and that one's sent in there for strike number 3. Justin Vosauce can't believe it. He kind of leaned down there like, what do you mean? But regardless, Zach Lewis gets his first strikeout of the day and his 3rd strikeout of the season, as now he'll face the bottom of the lineup in Theo Coomer. Runners still on second and first, Dawson Park and Samson Pugh. 1 out in the top of the 8th. Mountaineers lead 10-7. Zach Lewis has only pitched 3 innings before today for the Mountaineers. One of them was against Texas State. That first one sent down King Street for strike number 1 against Theo Coomer.
Something to watch right now. Zach Lewis, career high, 1 strikeout. So something to definitely watch, as he could easily
That one is
surpass
lost
his.
by Braxton Church. Far Grace Ellen. Braxton Church throws towards third, and Dawson Park able to get there safely off of the wild pitch by Zach Lewis. However, it was a dangerous throw there by Braxton Church. Off of a wild pitch there by Zach Lewis, and now both runners in scoring position. Dawson Park at third, Samson Pugh at second. 1-1 count now for Theo Coomer. With 1 out, one's across the board. That one's outside for ball number 2.
And now just kind of something to watch. We had some cloud cover here in the past inning, but the sun is back out at this point, and it is showing directly into infielders' eyes.
2-1. That one's sent down there for strike number 2. And now Zach Lewis back ahead in the count, count even, 2-2. To get back here at Theo Coomer, grounded out in the 3rd, and then got 2 singles in the 5th and the 6th, each one getting an RBI. 2-2, that one swung on towards second base. Zamora is on it, and he'll make the play to Cameron Miller, but not before Dawson Park is able to score. Mountaineers still lead 10-8.
Joseph Zamora again. App State choosing to go with those easy outs today, not going with the quick tag outs to prevent the run. However, it does increase the Texas State lead, so now it is 10-8. However, I agree with the play of just taking the out.
Another sacrifice hit there for Theo Coomer. And Texas State able to get a nice RBI to get within 2. Runner still in scoring position, Samson Pugh at third. And now Chase Moore, top of the lineup, up for the Texas State Bobcats. First pitch to him by Lewis, as outside for ball number 1. Chase Moore today got a single in the 1st, grounded out in the 4th, got a single in the 6th and scored, and then walked in the 6th but was left on base. That one swung on and missed for strike number 2, and Zach Lewis, strike number 1, and Zach Lewis looking to get out of the inning for the Mountaineers. Count even 1-1 with 2 outs in the top of the 8th.
I am feeling comfortable with Zach Lewis right now, just how he's taking on his counts.
That one swung on and missed for strike number 2 now, and now Zach Lewis ahead in the count 2-1 against Chase Mora.
It feels he's had the most success at this point of at least finding the plate and getting the ball over it, because we saw for a while that it was high ball counts and then we'd see a big hit. So it's nice to see Zach Lewis battling the count.
Send in there and swung on and missed for strike number 3, and Zach Lewis able to get out of the inning for the Mountaineers as they're still up ahead 10-8. And when we return, the Mountaineer Bats will return on 90.5 WASU YouTube. Back here on 90.5 WASU YouTube, here at Beaver Field, App State baseball taking on Texas State in the rubber game. Right now, already won the series, but looking to sweep it and go ahead 3-0 in the conference already. A great showing for App State baseball as they were able to mercy rule Texas State in the first game. And then in this game, and then yesterday, in extra innings, able to come off a win off of a Joseph Zamora walk-off. And now Cameron Miller up for the Mountaineers as that one's way inside. And thought maybe he got hit there, but he didn't. But inside for ball number 1 to Cam Miller.
Yeah, Cam Miller got hit twice yesterday and thankfully only has been walked today.
1-0 pitch is outside for ball number 2. And as Grace Ellen mentioned, a lot of hit-by pitches for the Mountaineers. They already have 5 today. Had 4 yesterday in that walk-off thriller against Texas State. Looking to put it away. They're ahead 10-8 versus the Bobcats right now. At one point had a 7-1 lead. However, it's tapered away, and we got a ball game right now. Is that one outside for ball number 3?
Cam Miller's done a great job. He's been ahead in the count twice so far today. So definitely someone that he's not going to swing unless he needs to, and he's taking the walks already.
Cam Miller walked twice today. There's the 3-0, and that one low for ball number 4, and Cam Miller will walk for the 3rd time today for the Mountaineers.
Definitely something that normally like seeing Cameron Miller taking some hits, but, or at least hitting the ball, not taking the hits. So, but still, nice to see him on base.
So that'll bring up Braxton Church for the Mountaineers now. Coming in today, so far had a double in the first, and then got on base by a fielder's choice, but then got out as part of a play to second, and then got on base twice by a hit-by pitch in the 4th and the 6th inning. First pitch inside for ball number 1, count 1-0. Cam Miller took quite a big lead off of first there. Miller has stolen 1 base so far this year. Braxton Church leads the Mountaineers in doubles with 8. Cam Miller possibly trying to get in scoring position for his teammate. And he looked about running, but Braxton Church hits that one way far. However, it's out of play, and that would have been long gone if it was a fair ball.
And it looks like we've got the wind actually pushing the ball towards right field. So maybe the wind picked that one up and just took it further right there, and maybe it would have stayed fair, but still no home runs today. But man, that we've seen a few foul balls with some distance on it.
Matthew Tippy still the pitcher for Texas State. Pitched so far 12 2/3 innings. Pitched 1 inning today. That one in there for strike number 2. As Braxton Church now down in the count 1-2. Still no outs in the bottom of the 8th. Cam Miller leads off. Matthew Tippy looking. Paying no mind to Cam Miller for now, who's looked a little bit dicey there on first. Braxton Church swings and misses for strike number 3, and that'll be the first out of the inning. And the second strikeout, for Matthew Tippy. And so John Kramer now will come up for the Mountaineers. Cam Miller still at first, trying to get a couple cushion runs here as the Mountaineers lead at the bottom of the 8th, 10-8, but Texas State has shown they can score whenever they want. John Kramer, the lefty, up, facing Matthew Tippy. Tippy's first pitch swung on and missed by Kramer, who today has already struck out twice. Walked once in the 5th and then walked in the 1st. Has yet to make contact today for the Mountaineers, unlike what he's usually done.
Yeah, Kramer's used to that 302 batting average, so definitely someone that you're used to seeing make contact with his bat.
0-1. That one swung on and missed by Kramer to make it 0-2 now. We've seen a lot of those, Grace Ellen, where Kramer just having a cold spell today. Great hitter for the Mountaineers. As you said, 302 before today. Now it's at 292. Has 1 triple, 6 doubles, 2 home runs to his name off of 19 hits, and now faces an 0-2 count with 1 out in the bottom of the 8th. Cam Miller's going, and catcher Theo Coomer loses it, and Cam Miller's able to get to second, and now John Kramer's able to come to first after a stolen first base there after he swung and missed for strike number 3. Or no, they're going to send him back, excuse me. I think John Kramer might have just been joking around there. I was confused as you because it was a ball, but John Kramer, or no, they're going to call him out. That's what we thought, but what an interesting set of events there for John Kramer, who I think was just instinct happened after the ball passed him and he sort of run towards first, but Cam Miller will be safe at second after Theo Coomer jumbled the ball. And now coming up for the Mountaineers, Tyler Figueroa, who so far today swings and misses on that one for strike number 1. So far today, Tyler Figueroa, if the live stats will update, please. But 0-1 count for him, as Matthew Tippie already has 2 strikeouts in this inning. Tyler Figueroa walked in the 6th, but hasn't made contact today either, and that's swung on for strike number 2. And now we're looking at a quick 8th inning here, Grace Ellen.
Absolutely, and you're seeing a lot of Mountaineers right now swinging to the fence, like almost craving those deep balls and potential home runs.
Trying to get some cushion runs. 0-2, that one's low. Cam Miller thought about stealing third, however, unfortunately, the jumbled ball there by Theo Coomer went towards third base, and Cam Miller thought better of it. In scoring position at second, Tyler Figueroa, so far today, as I said, walked in the 6th, but flew out in the 1st, grounded out in the 2nd, and then unable to make it in the 5th. That one, once again, lost by the catcher, Theo Coomer. He's having trouble with these balls, Grace Ellen. You don't see that from him often, but so far in this pitching sequence, he's lost it 3 times.
And he's done a great job earlier in the game of just keeping those balls where it might have hit the turf. However, he did a great job of keeping it in front of him, and he's done that in a lot of bases-loaded scenarios. So very interesting to see it happening at a point in the game when it really is needed to keep that ball in front.
2s across the board. That one swung on and missed by Figueroa. He's going to try to run to first, but catcher Theo Coomer, who again sort of lost the ball but able to make the tag, and Mountaineers get out of the inning, or excuse me, Mountaineers leave Cam Miller on base off of 0 hits, and when we return, the Mountaineers are going to try and put it away in the top of the 9th and sweep the series against Texas State, but only with 2 runs as a cushion. We'll be back for baseball action here on 90.5 WASU YouTube. We welcome you back to Beaver Field at Jim and Betty Smith Stadium on 90.5 WASU YouTube. Pitching change for the App State Mountaineers, going to the heating closer of Jordan Fisher, who has a monster fastball so far on the year, 2-1 record. Pitched 10 2/3 innings so far. and has 15 strikeouts to his name already. He'll face Caden Baker to start, who's 0-4 on the day for the Texas State Bobcats. Jordan Fisher's first pitch in there for strike number 1 against Baker.
Hot start for Jordan Fisher there. And hey, we got another name twin for you,
Another
Jordan.
twin, I know. Jordan Favors, Jordan Fisher. We used to have Jordan Marsh. He's not here anymore, unfortunately. Doing wonders at UNC Asheville, I believe. 0-1 count for Caden Baker, still looking for his first contact of the day. And there's going to be some discussion between the umpires. Was there a balk possibly on Jordan Fisher? Yes, there was, as they're going to give a ball. Or excuse me, no. I think the umps were just discussing something. 0-1 count remains for Caden Baker regardless. And now here's the 0-1. That one swung on. It's high and away. Third baseman Tanner McCammon's running for it. However, he's unable to make the catch as it goes out of play.
Man, that one is just, was it McCammon? Looks like he lost his hat on that one. Or my bad, that's Lichtenberger that lost his
was
hat.
even on there. He ran all the way from third base. Or excuse me, second base. So 0-2 now the count for Caden Baker, and Jordan Fisher looking to close out for the Mountaineers as he's done so many times before. Mountaineers now on their 7th pitcher of the day. And they'll have a quick turnaround as they face Charlotte on Tuesday at Charlotte. 0-2 by Jordan Fisher, high for ball number 1. Count now 1-2 to Caden Baker.
And that is just sort of the cost of both of these teams going so deep into their bullpen, as we've talked about. What holes in their next series, and it's not ideal for any of these head coaches to be digging so deep.
Caden Baker swings, and it's tipped foul, and he looked frustrated with that one, Grace Ellen, as he sort of pounded his chest in frustration after, I would be too. I mean, you've got on today, but the only way you've got on was from a fielder's choice. And you grounded out to that fielder's choice, and you haven't got on yet today with a hit. 0-4 on the day. Caden Baker has yet to get a hit for the Bobcats, and he swings at that one, but it's tipped foul once again, and he just looks frustrated down there, still looking for his first hit as a Bobcat, as he has come in only for his 2nd game, as he only has 8 at-bats so far, 4 of them coming today, and now 5, as he's still looking to get on base. Count now, 1-2 for Caden Baker. Jordan Fisher still looking for the first out of the top of the 9th inning. Mountaineers trying to save it as they lead 10-8. That one swung on towards first base. Cam Miller sort of jumbles it, but he's able to get to first in time for the out. What a play by Cam Miller.
Absolutely, and Caden Baker there was moving to get to first. A lot of times, sometimes you'll see that ball go, and you don't see someone run as fast as they could to first base because they know that they'll probably get out anyways. However, every out so monumental right now in this top of the 9th position where Texas State's down 2.
That'll bring up Ryan Farber, who so far today has gotten a single, and in the rest of his at-bats didn't get on base. Flew out foul in the 1st, struck out in the 4th, flew out to center in the 7th. First pitch by Jordan Fisher right down the middle, but umpire's going to call it a ball. Maybe it was outside and we're just not seeing it from the correct angle, but that looked like a downright strike to me any day of the week. 1-0 count now for Jordan Fisher facing Ryan Farber, the sophomore. Batting .300 so far this year, has 1 hit today. That one's outside for ball number 2.
Was such a controversial call to end the game. Just, I believe it was Friday. It is just, it's something you don't like to see late in any game, really, of just when these questionable calls come into fruition.
2-0 count favors Farber. That one down the middle, and that's no doubt about it. Umpire calls that one a strike. 2-1 count now as Jordan Fisher trying to get his 2nd strikeout of the inning versus Ryan Farber and get the Mountaineers the win. They lead 10-8 against the Texas State Bobcats, who have held right with them ever since the 5th inning. And now the 2-1, that one's inside for ball number 3. Count now 3-1. Jordan Fisher, one of those closers for App State who's been phenomenal all year. 5.73 ERA, but that's not everything you look at. 15 strikeouts so far And that one swung on foul. It was hit way hard, but unfortunately there, just contact unable to get it. But now you have a full count, 3-2, and Jordan Fisher has a chance to get back at Ryan Farber here, who at one point was ahead in the count 2-0.
And that just last foul ball, a line drive that would have had some serious length if it had stayed fair.
One out on the top of the ninth. Jordan Fisher trying to make it 2 with the count full to Ryan Farber. That one is swung on and missed. No, excuse me, he made contact with it. And count remains full at 3-2.
And that foul ball there almost came back and
I know,
nipped to the umpire right there.
Had to shield the umpire there. I remember one time I was working a softball game and the umpire got hit with the ball and then passed out. That was a crazy sequence there. Count full for Jordan Fisher. Still one out. Jordan Fisher sends in the pitch for the full count. That one's hit on towards left field. Figueroa is running towards it. So is McCammon. However, it's hit foul, and no one's able to come up with it for the Mountaineers.
McCammon's made he made one play earlier today where he chased the ball deep down to the App State bullpen and was able to get the out. Not able to get there this time as Farber's battling in the count.
Only the second batter so far in this top of the ninth inning. Count still remains 3-2 full. Jordan Fisher, who has more strikeouts than hits so far this year, faces a Ryan Farber who's just trying to make any contact with the ball and keep Texas State in this game as they're down by 2, 10-8. Sends in the pitch. That one swung on foul once again. That was the closest to us we've seen yet. And Ryan Farber just staying alive here for Texas State.
Man, I think we got to be 7 or 8 pitches in at this point. Like, truly trying to battle for any base hit potentially that Ryan Farber could get, just to, if anything, just prevent the out count from going up.
Full count for Jordan Fisher. Trying to get the second out in the top of the ninth inning and put the Mountaineers in a great spot. Full count pitch, again swung on foul, and Ryan Farber just making contact, but it hasn't gone his way.
And he's just a little under the ball here as he just hit that foul ball in the exact same spot where he hit it in his last pitch.
Give you a little score update for App State softball. They unfortunately fell to the Texas State Bobcats 6-4 today, as Texas State able to sweep the Mountaineers, but they put up a good fight against one of the best softball teams in the Sun Belt and the country. Full count pitch by Jordan Fisher is swung on, and Ryan Farber finally able to make contact past Cam Miller. He's going to run to second for a double, and finally Ryan Farber makes contact in the right way. Cam Miller just not in the right places. That was right down the first base line.
And Cam Miller couldn't just quite get there. It squeaked right in between him and the first base bag, and then it seeped past and kept going right past the foul post, so it made it hard for Dylan Moquin to even get to the ball in general. And I'm sure Ryan Farber could have even had a triple there if they weren't being so conscious about the
celebrating.
outs.
Finally, he got the hit. I mean, he gets on second from the double, so that puts Farber in scoring position. And now the tying run comes up. Alan Shibley, who so far today rounded out in the second, got a single in the fifth, double in the sixth, and then flew out in the seventh. Jordan Fisher looks back towards Farber as he sends in the first pitch, and that's swung on foul for strike number 1.
That one just tipped right back with all the speed just over the umpire's head there.
Right back towards the net. 0-1 count for Jordan Fisher, 1 out in the top of the ninth. Alan Shibley represents the tying run. So far today, 2 hits. With runners on base, he's batting .286. Right now, 0-1 for Jordan Fisher. Pitch clock at 17. Looks back at second towards Farber. Takes a long look towards Farber. Pitch clock now at 10. Sends in the pitch, and that's outside. Count now 1-1. One's across the board.
Something to watch with Shibley. He's batting .400 with runners in scoring position. So he's even better in this position with a man on second.
Shibley has 1 double and 1 home run so far this season in 19 at-bats. One of the new starters for Texas State is the 1-1 by Jordan Pitcher, swung on and missed by Shibley for strike number 2. Count now 1-2, Jordan Fisher ahead of Shibley. trying to get the second out and get the Mountaineers the sweep against the Bobcats. Ahead 10-8. Looks back towards Farber. Now Jordan Fisher sends in the 1-2. That one's hit foul. It's way up, and it's out of play back towards the athletics facility.
They're really liking it over there right now. We've had like 4 or 5 foul balls in the last 2 batters that have gone that direction.
Plenty of souvenirs back there for if you're walking on the Greenway Trail, so maybe pick up a ball or two if you're walking that way. Jordan Fisher counts still 1-2, looks back towards Farber. Now focuses on the batter. That one swung on and missed for strike number 3 by Alan Shibley, and Jordan Fisher is 1 out away from getting the Mountaineers the sweep against the Bobcats.
What a swing there, man. Another swing that you're just watching and you think he's just going to hit it out of the park if he makes contact. However, just under the ball and just tips it even.
There's a nice inside squeeze there by Jordan Fisher, and now the tying run is Austin Eaton. However, 2 outs in the top of the 9th. And Jordan Fisher once again looking to get the Mountaineers a hard-fought victory as the closer. Has done it many times before. Sends in the first pitch to Eaton. It's down the middle for strike number 1.
And that's one where you just start to get a little nervous in your boots there when you just watch one pitch go by.
Farber still at second. However, Jordan Fisher now all focused on Austin Eaton, the redshirt senior. 0-1, now looks back towards Farber, sends in the pitch, it's outside. Great job there by Braxton Church, keeping it within his glove and not making Farber run to third. So count now 1-1, 2 outs in the top of the 9th. Mountaineers can get out of it and get the victory with either a out in the infield or Jordan Fisher getting the strikeout. Looks back towards Farber, goes in for the 1-1, and he hits Austin Eaton. So now the tying run will be at first for the Texas State Bobcats, and coming up next for them, Dawson Park.
And Jordan Fisher had been doing so well on the mound, doing a great job at keeping things over the plate in the strike zone, and just to have such a pitch that wild off to hit Alan Shibley in the back there. It's just something Austin Eaton. Just unfortunate timing at this point.
There will be a pinch runner for Texas State, actually. Trent Rucker coming in at first for the Bobcats, and looks like we're going to have a mound meeting by Kermit Smith. I don't think he'll take out Jordan Fisher in this situation with 2 outs. He'll face Dawson Park, who came in for Cole Tabor earlier as a pinch hitter and now has played the rest of the innings for Texas State. But Kermit Smith having a long meeting at the mound. Umpire's probably going to have to break it up. But Grace Ellen, a tough situation now for Jordan Fisher as the tying run is at first. Ryan Farber still in scoring position at second, and now Dawson Park, who could, not the winning run because you still have the bottom of the 9th inning, but could give Texas State the lead if this goes AWOL.
Absolutely, and Dawson Park hasn't shown much success with runners in scoring position, batting 143 and 125 with 2 outs, so not exactly the most reliable guy statistically this season. However, has come in for Cole Tabor today, so has to show some success in the batter's box nonetheless.
Dawson Park came in the 6th inning, grounded out in that time, but did get an RBI off of his sacrifice hit. Walked in the 8th and was able to score. Now looking to do something similar here. Possibly a sacrifice hit, it's 2 outs. Of course you can't sacrifice hit. Jordan Fisher looks back towards Ryan Farber. Now sends in the pitch. It's outside for ball number 1. Jordan Fisher has been one of your key closers for the Mountaineers. Gotten a couple saves for them, has 3 on the year. That one way outside again for ball number 2, and now the count's 2-0. Dawson Park ahead in the count now for the Bobcats, who could give them the lead possibly if things get out of hand for Jordan Fisher. So far, 19 at-bats in his season here. Now sends in the pitch. That one inside just a little bit for ball number 3. Count now 3-0 for Jordan Fisher.
Park showed no fear there either. He even flinched his hands a little bit of how close that was inside.
Runners on first and second, both taking a lead. Jordan Fisher sends in the pitch and he hits Dawson Park. And now the runners will advance again. And now we have bases loaded with Trent Rucker on second, coming in as a pinch runner. And now the tying run, the tying run, Trent Rucker at second, Ryan Farber at third, Dawson Park at first. 2 outs still in the top of the 9th. And now Jordan Fisher in a tough situation as he will face Samson Pugh, Been a long day. The sophomore, still 2 outs in the top of the 9th. Bases now loaded. Mountaineers lead 10-8. Sends in the first pitch to Pugh. It's outside once again for ball number 1.
And Braxton Church is really reaching for that ball, doing a great job at keeping it in front of him and not letting any potential runners score home with 2 in scoring position. 1-0.
Samson Park so far today, grounded out in the 3rd, struck out in the 5th, got a single in the 6th, and then walked in the 8th, but was left on base. The 1-0 is high and over the head of Samson Pugh to make it 2-0. Jordan Fisher has not thrown a strike since he faced Alan Shibley. And now Braxton Church going to have a conversation with his pitcher. Going to bring in the whole team, actually, for this one. What do you think they're talking about? Possibly getting a forced out play. You only need the out to win the game, Grace Ellen. So possibly looking at a forced out situation here with bases loaded. It's actually not the worst situation with 2 outs if you're Jordan Fisher with bases loaded.
No, absolutely not. And as we see the home umpire come up right now, we've seen, I was kind of giggling a little bit because Theo Coomer's called so many meetings at this point that we're used to seeing all these mound meetings, but do you think Braxton Church is just calming the nerves? He's hit now at least 2 pitchers in the back, so just not even close to the plate or in front, hitting them on the back. And so I think it is just, hey, just put it across the plate right now, and let's go from there.
2-0 for Jordan Fisher with 2 outs in the top of the 9th. Bases loaded. Mountaineers lead by 2. After the meeting with Braxton Church, he sends in the pitch, and that's in there for strike number 1. Count now 2-1, and Jordan Fisher gets his first strike in 2 batters. 2-1 against Samson Pugh, who hits .500 with bases loaded, has 3 doubles and 2 triples. That one swung on foul. The count's now tied at 2-2 and 2s across the board as Jordan Fisher has a chance to get the Mountaineers out of the inning and get the win. He sets up at the plate, taking his time. Bases loaded. Farber at third. Trent Rucker, the pinch runner, at second. Dawson Park at first. Samson Pugh, the righty, facing Jordan Fisher. 2-2. He sends that one in, and it's hit high up in the air. Going towards it is Cam Miller. However, it's going to be out of play, and he's going to be able to not be able to get the out. Excuse me. It's been a long day. A lot of calls.
It is. It was a long first inning.
A lot of foul balls.
Absolutely. Now they're going to the right side. They've been going to the left side.
Samson Pugh 1-3 on the day. Tying run is Trent Rucker, the pinch runner, at second. 2-2 for Jordan Fisher. He sends it in. It swung on foul. Once again, count remains 2-2. And we're seeing a very similar situation here, Grace Ellen, than what we saw earlier, where Jordan Fisher had the count. You get a lot of foul balls, and then we saw earlier with Ryan Farber able to get on base finally after a hard hit ball. So count still 2-2 with 2 outs in the top of the 9th. Jordan Fisher sends it in, and it's swung on and missed for strike number 3, and the Mountaineers will take it away 10-8 and sweep the Texas State Bobcats to start the year 3-0 in conference play. What a showing there by Jordan Fisher to come back with the bases loaded.
Absolutely. That is a 4-year App State local right there. The redshirt junior closing it out. He spent his whole college career here, And just so exciting to see him come back after being behind in the batting order. Braxton Church calling that meeting to the mound, calming his nerves, and him pulling it together at the end for Jordan's name twin to end it at the top of the ninth.
App State will take away the win, 10-run state with 8 hits compared to Texas State's 10. This has been 90.5 WASU on YouTube. Would love to talk more, however, we got an interview to do as Bobby Phillips will have to go down and get an interview real quick. But from Jordan Luker, Grace Ellen Callihan, and Bobby Phillips, our reliever color.